KERX Paris Fort Smith from the Busch Light Studios. This is ESPN 95.3. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope on three! 1, 2, 3! Turn that down, your
Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Oh, life is moving fast. Good morning, everybody, and welcome into halftime on a Monday. Penultimate day of February with just one more on the calendar here in our shortest month of the year, and it has just been some crazy, crazy stuff. Lot to catch up on, and really a lot to pay attention to. Matt Jones, Matt Travis, how are you guys? How was the weekend?
It was fantastic over here, Phil.
Absolutely beautiful. Great atmosphere. It was Friday night, turned into Monday morning really, really quick.
I guess so.
One of those weekends, huh?
Yeah.
It was fun, man. It was cool.
It's a lot of sleep, I guess, over the weekend for some of us. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy week, too, because now postseason basketball begins. So you're never quite sure when a season's going to end when you get into March. Baseball's in full swing. Tough loss yesterday. Women's basketball, big win yesterday afternoon. And men's basketball, man, that was an entertaining game on Saturday. I wasn't able to get my eyes on it Saturday because that was right in the middle of the baseball game against Eastern Illinois, but that was supposed to be one of the more entertaining games of the year. I think the entire country was on Arkansas's side, but Alabama just a little bit too good in the end with a huge second half. 30 more points than they scored in the first half. 58 second half points, and just kind of turned it on. And Brandon Miller continues to play great basketball, even if he probably shouldn't be on the court anyway. That'll be the overarching theme for the show. Not Brandon Miller. I mean, I think we've hit on that quite a bit, and there'll be more to get to today on that topic. But if you look at a loss, Matt, for Arkansas against Alabama on Saturday, and it does follow a little bit of the theme that we've seen from road games this year. A bit of an inability to hold second half leads. It's been much more on the road than it has been at home. I don't know if you worried too much about that from this last game against Alabama, because what I take from that game more than anything is that the Hogs were right there with a team that's going to be a number one seed. I mean, Alabama could lose on Friday in the SEC tournament and probably still be a number one seed.
They wouldn't be the number one overall seed, but yes, I agree with you. They don't have to make a run in the SEC tournament, but I think they will, but you're right.
You might just take it to the idea that Arkansas might have beaten a potential number one seed in their own home building if they made some free throws in the later in the second half. Because I think that there might have been – look, I mean, the last time Arkansas played Alabama – it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all, and it was in Bud Walton Arena. Admittedly, it was 6-7 weeks ago, and you got blown out 84-69 in your own building. That was a totally different iteration of this Razorback men's basketball team, and they had the lead quite a bit, and truthfully could have won that game against a team that really thinks they'll be hanging the banner when it's all said and done, whether it's a Final Four or an SEC championship or a national championship. So I think there are a lot of good things to take from a loss to Alabama, Matt, and the idea that you are a much better team than the last time you faced the Crimson Tide is at the top of the list for me right now.
Man, it was a great game. I'm not sold on Alabama winning a national title. I do not think that they're going to do it. I did see Brandon Miller do some stuff that I hadn't seen on the basketball court all year. You know, Brandon Miller is that good of a basketball player. It was fun to watch him and Nick Smith. No matter what you think about him off the court, but I'm just talking about his basketball. Him and Nick Smith went at it, man. It'd have been, you think, well, it'd have been cool to see Nick Smith go at it all year, but you got him now and he's healthy. And man, I'd put $1 on Arkansas to win the SEC championship. We're just like you, Phil. We could beat any team in this conference. I don't think our record and our seeding will be a little skewed, but with you got our backcourt in. Devo went off for 20, Ricky off the bench with 20, and Nick Smith doing his thing. It's weird that Anthony Black is kind of the odd man out because he was used to the one having the ball in his hands the most, and now with Nick back, Anthony he's not the primary ball handler, and he went out with 2 fouls. I thought, man, this could get ugly quick, and you're going to win more games with Anthony than you're going to lose with him. So. It was a weird game, but he's the one that's kind of trying to figure it out again. You get him going again, man, and it'll be something. But when Devo steps up with 20, Anthony's such a smart player. It's like we'll try to do some other things. He had 3 steals. He's a monster on the defensive end.
I think it's the fewest minutes Black has played this year, and you're going to need him on the court. I think to have a lot of damage in March Madness, no doubt.
Absolutely,
I mean, Black is such a talented player.
Yeah.
He helped. The word wouldn't be carry, but when Nick was out for all that time, you're right. He was the primary ball handler, and he'll still be a primary ball handler, just not.
He's just playing off the ball more. When he needs he's a point guard. When he's used to, but so is Nick. They're both used to having the ball more, so they're going to have to. And that's what we were talking about earlier is getting your points in the flow of the offense, being able to pass the ball. And I know Muss stresses that, so it's able to pass the ball and getting the points, so everybody's still contributing to it. And I've been talking about the Mitchell brothers, and I love the Mitchell brothers, and I'm high on them. I didn't think either one of them really showed up. I think they're going to have to play better as well for us to have a chance to win, because those men, when the Mitchell brothers are playing good, it seems like this team is playing good. And
feels like Makai has faded a little bit here in the second.
Was
half
he the
of
one
the
that was
season.
hurt a little bit? Was he hurt with the knee or
Mikal had
okay.
Mikal had the foot injury.
Yeah.
So to see Makai get shut out and
they let him play, Phil.
We're used to seeing him play about more like 12 to 15 minutes now than in the 20s. But yeah, I mean, they let him play. They let him bang around a little bit.
They did let him bang, man. They didn't. They weren't. It wasn't a quick whistle. They let him play. It was it was a competitive game. The atmosphere, is at the races. You're sitting there watching it, Phil, and the fans, they're living every moment. They're calling the hogs. I just thought it was cool that you're. I mean, that's just how it is. Arkansas really does have the best fans in the country, man. They're out there calling the hogs, oohing and awing, and every time the referee blow his whistle, you're hearing noises in the crowd. I mean, it was a good atmosphere.
So 19-10 with 2 games left, and you get tomorrow against Tennessee, man. That really feels like a great opportunity for a big road win. I think Arkansas can go there and win that ball game. If you can lead Alabama for 22 minutes in Coleman. And come down to a decent 3-point look to tie at the end, even though you faded in the second half mightily, you can go into Knoxville Tuesday and beat a Tennessee team that's lost some home games this year. Women's basketball closed out the regular season yesterday with an impressive win over Texas A&M. I think that's a game you had to have if you were going to have a case to make the NCAA tournament. And truthfully, I mean, A&M's only won 2 conference games. And the last one was against a Kentucky team that's playing out the string. So that was a game that the women's basketball team absolutely had to have, and they got it. And now they're in the not the NCAA, they're in the SEC tournament starting Thursday against Mizzou. And if they find a way to beat Missouri for a 3rd time this year, which would be 9 times in a row, then you get the team that I think is going to be the eventual national champion on Friday, pretty much in their backyard in the South Carolina Gamecocks. And I think that South Carolina second five could probably win the SEC outright without even the first five getting on the court. They are that talented. So I think you're looking at Arkansas probably going 1-1 in the week in the SEC tournament. And then you got to sit back and wait. Like, there is more than a week. There are, I think, 9 days between when their and run isn't the right word, but whenever they return from Greenville, you wait a week. You wait a week to find out what it is you're going to be doing. And they're right there on the bubble. They're either first 4 out or they're the last 4
They win
in.
one game in the SEC tournament, they're 100% in.
No. I don't think there's any givens.
Not for them.
There is no guarantee for Mike Neighbors' team. You know, if you find a way to, I mean, look, in a fantasy world, you could upset South Carolina, but South Carolina's last loss came in last year's SEC championship game to Kentucky. And then they won the national title and go 29-0 in the regular season. And this is a game, again, it's like, I think Greenville is maybe an hour and a half, if an hour away from Columbia. So, I mean, I've seen Arkansas beat South Carolina in this tournament before, but this is a much more talented South Carolina team. So I hope they take care of Missouri, give South Carolina, and maybe find a way to upset. If you upset South Carolina, then yes, I think you're in the tournament. But, it's a big but, because nobody can beat that team right now, and it's even tough to get within 10 points of them. So, baseball got a 3-1 week, 2-1 weekend with Eastern Illinois. I think, at least in the back of our minds, you sort of remember more of the last 3 innings of yesterday's game than the other 24 innings that were played. Or I guess it was 22 innings because we had a run rule on Friday. Arkansas nearly got run ruled at home yesterday. With a late meltdown by the bullpen and some plays in the field, too, and just wasn't a pretty game at all, losing 12-3 to Eastern Illinois. But they scored double-digit runs in the first 2 games, and Arkansas baseball is 5-2 heading into the 3rd week of the season. So those are the overarching themes for us to get to here today, and thoughts on the pitch clock making its debut in Major League Baseball spring training. There are pitchers and hitters that say this favors the pitchers. I happen to love the pitch clock right now. I think it's starting to work the way that it was intended, even in college baseball. You did have you had a game that ended on a pitch clock violation by a batter in both spring training and college baseball. But I'm here to tell you, as these guys get used to the pitch clock, those things will not happen at all. I don't think that'll happen at all because I think they'll just get used to the pace of the game, and the games have been going a lot quicker. So
I'm excited to see how the base runners use it, too. I know it's a lot about the pitchers and the batter. Yeah.
Oh, and they are using it, Matt Jones. That's true. So it's a Monday on halftime. The sun is shining brightly. The wind is still blowing fairly hard. And we've got Conor O'Gara with us in hour number 3 for whatever's going on in college football. Got some NFL draft talk. Apparently Bryce Young is not going to throw at the Combine, and Jalen Carter does not want to work out.
Jalen Carter didn't have to worry. That dude's he's okay. I do not like it if my quarterback doesn't want to compete. I think you're short, you're skinny, you got a lot of things going against you to just be successful and healthy at the next. They really hit you at that next level, man. You got to have a little pudding on you. You got to have a little muscle and a little extra.
Little pudding on you.
You got to, man. I need my quarterbacks like Andrew Luck, and even Eli Manning had a little bit on him. You got to. I know he's going to grow into it, but I as a quarterback, man, it's where are we playing? Let's go play. Where are we competing at? Oh, we're competing in Indianapolis at the Combine? Well, let's go compete. Wherever it is, let's go. That's what I want out of my quarterback. So, I'm not sold on Bryce Young, but he'll probably still be a top 10 pick.
I just find it interesting. If there's one thing that he does, it's throw the ball fairly accurately. So why not show that you can do that?
Go show.
That's right. Well, can he say, you know what? I'd rather not get measured. I'd rather not have
hurt
my hand measured.
It's
hand measuring season, Matt Jones. The weirdest topic on sports radio, talk shows, and ESPN of all the 12 months.
I had a coach go
hand measuring.
He measured my hand and goes, "Oh, I thought it'd be bigger." He said,
that's what. I don't want to go.
But it was like 10.5 or whatever my hand was. He goes, "Man, I thought it'd be bigger." And I'm just like, I think they just say it to you just because you're like, "Get out of here, man! What are you doing?" They just want to see your reaction, It's
more like a mental Rorschach test, isn't it? Yeah. But after the break, we're talking with Pig Trail Nation's Mike Irwin. So stay with us on halftime.
confident.
You're listening to the Gimme the Hogs Chuck podcast presented by White Curd Realtors, the Griffin Company.
The thing that stands out to me is how we are going to continue to see high school recruiting effective. I think we all know that the portal's where it's at. When you look at the reconstruction of college basketball teams, largely it comes through the portal.
Make sure you're subscribed to the Hit That Line podcast network. Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Hi, this is Ricky Smith, head basketball coach for the Northside Lady Bears. I dial 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
This is Northside head basketball coach Eric Burnett. I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
Take advantage of York Factory rebates on high-efficiency HVAC products.
782-8940.
CF Moto at Auto Finders in Adventure, Oklahoma. Enjoy 0% interest for 6 months. No payments for 7 months through March 31st on all ATVs, utility, and sport side-by-sides. Auto Finders CF Moto inventory online at autofindersok.com. Auto Finders and Adventure, Oklahoma, where your search ends and adventure begins. CF Moto recreational vehicles are intended for off-road use only and can be dangerous to operate. Review all product manuals, labels, and safety information before operating. Always wear your safety gear and never operate a CF Moto vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Visit cfmotousa.com for complete training and safety guidelines.
There's more to a tractor than just horsepower. A tractor also needs weight to get that horsepower to the ground. With TYM, a heavier tractor comes standard. Many of the TYM models weigh more for the horsepower than comparable tractors from the big names, and tractors that weigh more do more. See Bush Tractor at their new location at 6100 South Zero in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com to see how they can upgrade your productivity.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
The people have voted, and Evans Body Shop has been recognized. Voted best in the River Valley this year and 5 years running best of the best independent body shop. We are so grateful for the support of our community. EBS has hundreds of 5-star reviews and countless satisfied customers. We invite you to experience a customer service level that sets our shop apart from the others. Call or come by today to see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while, or if you haven't had the best of experiences with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry. Give her a call at 494-7600. They'll take care of it all. Crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today. 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
Right now, catfish is something special at Calico County. Whether you like it crispy fried, grilled, or blackened, all our catfish is currently available at a special price. They'll cook it the way you like it and serve it with 2 sides and rolls. You can also have their same great fish served on a hoagie roll with slaw and their own remoulade. The Catfish Po' Boy's on special as well. So roll on into Calico County for great catfish at a great price. Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue, behind Randall Ford.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Rock the cradle of love. Rock the cradle of love. Yes, the cradle of love. Don't rock easily, well, rock the cradle of love. I rock the cradle of love. Yes, the cradle of love. Don't rock easily, well, it burned like a ball on fire. When the rebel took a little child right to teach, yeah. So go easy, yeah. Ow! 'Cause love comes a million ways. Shakes the devil.
FM on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We always appreciate talking with Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation on these Monday mornings. And after a weekend where there was a lot of Razorback athletics to get to, it's maybe even better to talk to him today. Mike, how are you doing, and how was your weekend?
Busy.
Sure was. You're motoring all over the place. You got track, you got softball, you got baseball, you got basketball of men's and women's, gymnastics, man. I mean, this is the craziest time of the year. But you got to start with basketball because that's the one that'll get most of the headlines here, and it's late in the season. What do you take from Arkansas's loss? Is there anything to be alarmed about? Are you worried about second half comebacks from opponents on the road, or is it just the way I'm looking at it? Where I think Arkansas, the fact that they led a team that's going to be a number one seed for that long in that home building, I think it's a good thing because you're not playing in opponents' home buildings for the rest of the season once you get into March.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, the fact that they had a chance to tie it at the end, like you say, had a lead at halftime. At one time had an 11-point lead. I thought they played well. I think Nick Smith continues to have a good influence on this team. The people that were saying they didn't need him, you just laugh at them right now. I mean, if you really look at that game, Alabama clearly thought going in, all right, we got to shut off their inside scoring. That's the way they scored their points, and it worked. The Mackay brothers scored, 5 points combined? Jalen Graham scored 2, so that's 7 points from your big guys. But you get 24 points from Smith Jr., you get 21 from Devo, 20 from Council, 65 points from 3 guards, which suggests shooting. The shooting is better now. So I don't think they're going to continue to have problems with their inside guys. I think most teams you play aren't going to be that good defensively inside. And the only outlier in that game was just Anthony Black. He was in foul trouble and only scored 7 points. I'm not worried about him. I think they're in no matter what happens, but I think they've got a good chance to beat Tennessee. And I think they'll win against Kentucky in their last game. And then it's, like you say, neutral site games from that point on, and Arkansas plays well in neutral site games. So I'm not worried about anything right now.
Mike, I thought it was a great atmosphere. I thought the team competed. I thought we played hard. Man, I was impressed with Devo. What impressed you the most about Devo's game this week?
Well, his defense, the defensive job he did, but yet he does that and still scores 21 points. When he's scoring and playing solid defense, I mean, that guy's a player. One of the questions coming up on Ask Mike this week is whether or not he can make it in the NBA. I don't know about that. That's one of those things we'll have to wait and see. But, he has really improved himself this year. There's still some inconsistencies there, but he sure played well in that Alabama game.
I think he's Mr. Razorback this year. I think either him or Ricky, but what Devo's done on both ends, and then when Nick wasn't out, being able to score a little bit, reading the game, and Ricky continues to shine, man. He made that 20 points look easy.
Sure. And, he continues to be impressive. Nobody dunks like he does. So, he's entertaining. He helps you win. There's that free throw shooting thing again. It's not constant, but it just pops up every 2 or 3 games. Boom, you got it again. And somebody asked, what do you do about that? I don't know. I had a high school coach one time that said it was all about being tired, so he'd run everybody and then make them shoot free throws. But I don't know that if that's the answer, then everybody does that. There's coaches that will take players and put pressure on them by saying, all right, if you miss a free throw, everybody has to run. So now your teammates are looking at you like, don't miss this free throw. That's pressure. So I don't know what you do to put somebody in game-like conditions when they're not in a game to improve their free throw shooting. But it's good sometimes, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, that is one thing that, don't worry about, like, what happened on the road with this game. But even in a neutral site, free throws at the end of a game can certainly cost you. The Brandon Miller thing, though, I mean, I have not watched enough Alabama basketball to know that his routine in the pregame introductions was the pat down. And apparently,
is there not a thing? Who's the PR at Alabama, Phil? Like, how do they let him keep? That doesn't make any sense, right?
I think it's been pretty obvious by what has transpired in the last week that the communication staff at Alabama must have their hands tied over this. Or NATO, the coach doesn't have to pay attention to what the player is doing when he's coming out for his pregame. But my gosh, I mean, just when you think that they could look any worse, Brandon Miller looks worse and worse and worse. While he continues to play incredible basketball.
Best player on the floor. Yeah,
that's the thing that's amazing about this. He looks like a total jerk who doesn't care at all about the death of this mother of Janae Harris, but yet he's going out there and he's playing incredible basketball. It's like he's feeding on the hate.
Well, what it's really doing is making Alabama look bad as a school. And I never thought much about that before. I had a pretty good attitude about them, the school itself. But this is crazy. I mean, you got to know that because those players sat there and watched that every game and saw the pat down, not one of them stepped forward after the girl was murdered and said, hey, we better not do that anymore. I mean, the whole thing suggests nobody cares. They're just tone deaf to any outside noise. I know their fans are. Courtney of our staff just put a little thing on Twitter about that, something about a bad look. You wouldn't believe the responses she got from Alabama fans. They've turned into crazy people. I mean, they're threatening people, and we're gonna do this to you. You're gonna. I mean, the whole thing just makes no sense to me. It's like the whole operation. I mean, from the head coach to the athletic director to the board of trustees, chancellor of the school, fans, media. It's like they're all in on this and saying, people don't know what you're talking about. He didn't do anything wrong. You're the ones that are wrong. And they don't get it. They don't get it that there are things that don't involve a crime that still mean you shouldn't be playing. You should step in and discipline somebody. We've all done stupid things that we deserve to be disciplined for. You may not think it at the time, but you look back on it and go, he probably should have sat me down for that. And in this case, I don't think Nate Oates is doing him any favors. Now, he's going to be in the NBA. Does that mean that he's immune to discipline issues? Are you kidding me? If he's this tone deaf, what message are you sending? There's an obligation, guys. Yes, you want to take athletes and provide an environment and coaching where they get better as athletes, but you're taking people out of high school age levels, and in that 4-year period that you're in school, that's when you grow up. That's when you learn how to act as an adult in the world. And, coaches should have the idea that I'm going to grow your son into a man. I'm going to grow your daughter into a woman. They're going to know how to act when they leave this school. And I feel like that happened to me even in high school. The lasting value of my high school football experiences was the lessons I learned about how to deal with life. And that stays with you a lot more than the athletic performance. And in this case, it's like that's not even a factor.
The idea is that right now, obviously this situation is not affecting Alabama basketball in the least right now. But Nate Oates, to everybody outside the Alabama bubble, and I believe this should include the players and the parents that he's recruiting, he looks like a total buffoon in his answers in the press conferences, in his body language, in just the idea of what's important to him right here. He's just a basketball coach. Like, that's it. He's X's and O's, and that is absolutely it. I can't think of anything else about him other than I just care about my team on the floor. I don't care what they do when they walk out of this building. It just matters what happens when I've got them in my building and they're listening to me talk about basketball, because otherwise he has absolutely no clue how to handle this.
Yeah, I mean, I've never made a secret of the fact that I did not personally like Lou Holtz. He was very hard on people. He was difficult to deal with, and he did things to me where I wanted to just smack him in the face. But that guy demanded things out of his players, and when he did that whole thing before the '78 Orange Bowl and basically stepped in before anybody else could even deal with it and said, doesn't matter whether or not they're charged with a crime, they didn't do the right thing. They violated the do-right rule, and they're gone. And that tells me that not only was he a great coach, but he had something else in mind about his athletes. I've got to do things for them to help them down the road. And most good coaches, when their careers are over, you'll hear these stories about things that were unrelated to the athletics part of it, that you look back on them and you say, wow, that was one heck of a guy. And you're right, Phil. With Nate Oates, unless he changes, what are they going to say about him? He just wanted to win. That was it.
Yeah, like Matt, I don't think how is Nick Saban spoken about? He's not talked about as just being a football
I thought it
coach.
was weird that they got Saban running around the basketball gym. You know, they're making sure that he's there. So I'm with you, Phil. They've mishandled this situation the entire way. And when the girl loses her life, then you got to kind of, man, don't do that. You know, kind of show some respect for all that, man. That's just it's just not cool.
Mike, I want to get some thoughts on the women's basketball team. 7-9 finish in conference, 20 wins. I mean, they're Mike is pointing out it's the same record in conference as last year. It's another 20-win season. It's been an interesting year. Like, I can't think of one game outside of maybe the Creighton game on the road in December where Arkansas won a game that they would have been an underdog in, and vice versa. It's kind of the other way around. It's been a little bit of a chalky season, and man, they're on the bubble. I think right now they're on the outside looking into the tournament. I did not expect NIT this year.
It's possible. I've had people tell me that if they win this first round SEC tournament game, and they should, then they still think they're in. He's got a really good group coming in. He's recruited well. Most of this team's coming back, so a lot of people tell me, they're going to be better next year. It's just not a good look when somebody is basically saying, hey, we're where we were last year. It's okay. He just doesn't seem, there's no sense of urgency that coming from him when he's in press conferences. He seems to be okay with where they are. And I'm not saying the guy should be freaking out. Some of it is just his personality. He's a positive guy. If you're around him, he's one of the most interesting people you ever want to be around. I don't know what happens. I've had people that know a lot more about that women's program than I do saying, no, he'll be back. So I certainly am not going to sit here and say that I know what's going to happen, but I think if he's back, it's because of his recruiting and because this was a fairly young team, and most of them will be back.
I think that's fair. I think those are fair comments. Mike, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you on these Mondays. Thank you very much.
Okay, see you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
It's Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation. Joins us every Monday, and we always like his
bringing the heat
on
today. I like
athletics.
it. I like Mike.
Yeah. And as far, I think he hit it on the nose with Mike. He never shows panic.
Contrition. Oh, sorry.
Or panic, really. Yeah. And truthfully, I mean, he has. I remember something Mike said. It was about a month ago, after a loss. Said, "Well, the season could go in either direction right now," and that was an honest moment. And since then, it kind of started going a little bit downhill. But they had to beat A&M. Absolutely had to beat Texas A&M, and they did that. And I think they have to beat Missouri, and I would expect them to do that because they've dominated Missouri twice. The sky is not falling, by the way, with women's basketball, not even close. And halftime continues right after this.
Joe Klein here for Bet Saracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app.
You bet it is, Joe, which means Bet Saracen has everything you're looking for and more right there on your cell phone.
Now everyone can get in the game and follow your favorite team.
And that's right on the money. If putting down a little wager makes your favorite game a little more exciting, we'll go to the app stores and download Bet Saracen. We even got a demo video to show you how to play.
Or find it at betsaracen.com.
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Right now, catfish is something special at Calico County. Whether you like it crispy fried, grilled, or blackened, all our catfish is currently available at a special price. They'll cook it the way you like it and serve it with 2 sides and rolls. You can also have their same great fish served on a hoagie roll with slaw and their own remoulade. The Catfish Po' Boy's on special as well. So roll on into Calico County for great catfish at a great price. Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue, behind Randall Ford.
The cold and flu seasons are here, and Law's Drug Store has what you need to safely care for you and your family. Law's Drug Store can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all the over-the-counter cold and flu remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointments for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Love is in the air at Crane Used Car Supercenter of Fort Smith. And dealer-operator Joe Pulliam is making sweetheart deals all month long. Like pre-owned vehicles starting as low as $7,497 or payments as low as $269 a month. You'll fall in love with a Crane Pre-Love with lots to choose from. Kias and Land Rovers to full-size trucks, all backed by the Crane commitment. Rush to the Crane Used Car Supercenter, 8200 US 71 South in Fort Smith. UACC dealer details.
The Arkansas Razorback football team is coming off back-to-back winning seasons and a Liberty Bowl victory. As Coach Sam Pittman and the team look ahead towards the 2023 season, it's time for Razorback fans to do so as well. The deadline to renew your Razorback football season tickets and Razorback Foundation pledge is Wednesday, March 1st. You don't want to miss a second of the action in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium next season in 2023, so head on over to ArkansasRazorbacks.com and renew today.
Art's Barbecue and Burgers has the best burger in town. And every Saturday, enjoy any burger at Art's and get $1 off. Try Art's Bacon Cheeseburger, topped with house smoked bacon, or the Art Attack with bacon, ham, and a fried egg. And all of Art's burgers come with a mound of fresh cut fries, or upgrade to Art's homemade onion rings. $1 off all burgers every Saturday at Art's Barbecue and Burgers, 8203 Rogers Avenue, next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Hey, later on in the week, the 33rd annual Northwest Arkansas Home Show is back in its early spring time slot. That's this Friday through Sunday at the Northwest Arkansas Convention Center and Holiday Inn in Springdale. We're expecting over 4,000 attendees, and they'll be showcasing local builders, supplies, and home improvement business all throughout the weekend. There's going to be over 100 local businesses there, helping the local community seek advice with a variety of home products and services, including home building, remodeling, outdoor living, energy efficiency, healthy living, financing, and design. It's the original Northwest Arkansas Home Show. That's this Friday from 10 to 6, Saturday from 10 to 5, and they wrap it up Sunday from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. Tickets available at the door for $6. You can go also online to nwahomeshow.com and purchase tickets right there. You can see all the vendors and food trucks and register for prize giveaways at nwahomeshow.com. It's the 33rd annual Northwest Arkansas Home Show, March 3rd through the 5th. And again, that is at the Northwest Arkansas Convention Center and Holiday Inn in Springdale. So I know over the weekend I had a lot of baseball and basketball to call. Matt Jones, Oak Lawn. How'd it go over there, man?
Man, it's a good time. It's a great crowd. I always love Hot Springs. I don't do a lot of social media, really, and so I ran into, my old barber, old guys I played AU ball with. You just run into 50 different people that you haven't seen in years and kind of catch up. And I couldn't pick a horse, man. I only bet a couple horses, couldn't pick one. But then at the end, I put a $25 on green and got lucky. And so
on the casino side,
yeah.
Good for you, man.
I think.
So what is your strategy for picking horses? I've always, and I haven't been to Oak Lawn in a long time because of college baseball, pretty much, and basketball too. But when I used to go, I'd go before the Traveler season. I would listen to Terry, who of course was the track announcer then. Listen to his pre-race advice,
analysis,
right? Yeah. And then I would go into the paddock and watch the horses, get ready for it, and kind of judge if I like this, that leg and this leg, and look at that pile he left there. I think I'll bet on him. Of course, I have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about with these horses. I still managed to win a few trifectas before, just listening to the announcer tell you what he thinks.
That's right. Paula J always bets on the gray horse, so I'll bet I'll throw a little something on a gray horse, and then I used to bet Calvin Burrell. Like whenever I'd go years, like whoever the jockey was, you kind of bet the jockey or the owner. Man, it's just a good time. It was fun, and man, to watch the basketball game down there with some Hog fans calling the Hogs, and just the atmosphere and environment was electric, and everybody was kind of living and dying with every shot there at the end. It was cool.
So is it different to watch a game, in a sports bar than when you're in a casino or a sports book, and everybody that's there has money on the game?
Yeah, I mean the best thing I loved about Hot Springs was that everywhere I was a non-smoking section. So it was just, man, that's when you're trying to watch those sports book and you got 70-old white men with cigars, you're just like, guys, man, go home to your wives or something, man. Y'all are just messing it up for everybody. But they're 70, they probably don't want to go home. But it was cool. That was my favorite thing. Was everywhere I went, no matter if it was the casino, the horse track, the restaurants, it was non-smoking. And used to, when you go to the casino, that's all you think of. You just got to go in there.
That was the thing. It was always smoking.
Yeah, it was cool.
That was the thing I always thought about. It's like, all right, no windows, no clocks, and cigarette smoke all over.
That's gross. I can't do it. It just brings me down smelling cigarette smoke. It just really, I just go to anywhere else I can go to not be around it.
I know. Yeah, there used to be some bars that people I worked with would end up going to those places, and they were the smoking bars. It's just like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna have to throw this jacket away.
Got to take three. You got to take
here.
3 showers with your jacket on first, just to try to wash it all out. It's gross.
Man, we used to have smoking sections at Traveler games too. Like you would get kicked out of Baum Walker Stadium for lighting anything up. Even a candy cigarette might do the same thing. Might get you kicked out of there. But, I mean, there was a time where candy cigarettes was like the most popular candy, and everybody in a stadium smoked. And we had a smoking section down the third base line at Traveler games, to the point where I think I've told you this one before. Like, we weren't allowed to sell cigarettes any longer my first year with the Travs because there was a league rule about that. They used to sell Marlboro Reds. And the first time I ever went into Ray Winder Field to interview for the job, there was a man who was painting the words "No smoking" on the stadium girders. But the team still had like 25 cartons of Marlboro Reds left over from the year before. We sold those suckers.
Yeah, you did.
The stalest, most disgusting cigarettes.
You ever smoked a Marlboro Red before? I've attempted to one time, and it was like it's so harsh. Like it's yeah.
I mean, those were college days.
That's
that was
a real.
I'll have one when I'm drinking.
Yeah, that's a real man. Oh,
man, I had a friend who was so addicted to nicotine that he tried to get off. He tried to quit smoking cigarettes by using the patch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he realized he was such a nicotine addict, he eventually got to the point where he wasn't just smoking a cigarette while he was
doubling
wearing
up.
a patch. Matt, he ripped the filter off of those Marlboro Reds.
Oh, that's OG, yeah.
And smoked them that way with the patch.
And chewing
gum.
gum.
He might have been chewing the Nicorette too.
That's awesome.
Gosh,
yeah.
it's like you almost grew into a tobacco leaf just doing that.
That's hashtag best life type of stuff right there.
That is some real best life sort of stuff. That's right. All right, I think we don't have enough time to get into another topic here because there's a lot to get to. We got baseball that, man, I was a little alarmed at yesterday's loss. I like winning 2 out of 3, but I like winning 3 out of 3 against schools out of the Ohio Valley Conference. I think that Eastern Illinois team yesterday, they're old. That's an older team. I think nearly every single one of them, played at a junior college. And so that's one of the older teams I think Arkansas will face this year. And you had some young pitchers that just kind of fell apart and some bad 2-strike pitches as well. So I'll hit on some of that stuff and also let you know that, hey, the sky's not falling with women's basketball. And even with a 12-3 loss to Eastern Illinois on Sunday, the sky is not falling for baseball either. Yes, you're exactly right about that, B.E. They avoided the run rule, and for a moment, it looked like Arkansas was about to get run-ruled by EIU at Baum-Walker Stadium. At least that didn't happen. But we'll wrap up hour number 1 of halftime right after this.
Now, in a game of chance the other night, old Dame Fortune was doing me right. The kings and the queens, they just kept on coming around. Then I got a full and I bet it high, but my bluff didn't work on a certain guy. He just kept on a-raising and a-laying the money down. He'd raise me and I'd raise him. I sweated blood, I got a sink or swim. He finally called and then didn't raise the bet. I said, ace is full, pal, how about you? And he said, well, I'll tell you in just a minute or two, but right now I just gotta have a cigarette. Smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. Puff, 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 and if you smoke yourself to death, tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate that you hate to make him wait, but you just gotta have another cigarette.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Make today more interesting with Betly's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college games with Betly, the only online sports book in Arkansas and Tennessee. And right now, every new customer can cash in on a $250 risk-free first bet. Download the Betly Sportsbook app now in the Apple and Google Play Store or visit Betly.com. With Betly, every game matters. Must be 21 or older and located in Arkansas or Tennessee to bet. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Hey, this is Jason Christie from Park Hill, Oklahoma, the 2022 Bassmaster Classic champion. I'm excited to tell you about the Booyah Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. It is a smaller version of the Poppin' Pad Crasher, and it's a bait I'm going to use all summer on the Arkansas River. Frog fishing is one of my favorite things to do when summer fishing, and Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. is the right size and has the right hook set up to catch them. It's available at lurenet.com and tackle stores everywhere. The Booyah Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr.
Watch every hog game again this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Hi, this is Melissa Vitale, owner of True Grit Running Company. Your young athlete deserves the best when it comes to footwear. After all, it's good to start early so they don't have problems in the future. We've got options for training, cross-country, gym class, and more. Our well-trained staff can guide your student athlete through our personalized fit process to help find that True Grit fit. And for our cross-country kids, we offer a 10% discount off of your total purchase. Visit our store in Fort Smith, located behind Chick-fil-A.
Did Cupid shoot you with a crossbow of drama instead of an arrow of true love? Don't let that little cherub ruin the rest of your life. Call Mock Legal Solutions today to stop the bleeding. Schedule a free consultation and ask about our special pricing for new divorce filings in February. 479-769-1505. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Are you looking for a great deal on a previously owned vehicle but want to avoid high-pressure sales? If so, you need to visit Edwards Auto Sales in Roland. For over 30 years, Ernie Edwards and his staff have helped folks from Arkansas and Oklahoma River Valley buy a quality vehicle and offer a buy here, pay here program as part of their services. Some restrictions may apply. Come visit Edwards Auto Center newly remodeled facility 3 miles west of the Garrison Bridge, the first car dealer on your right, or log on at edwardsautosalesinc.com.
Gray Steel Structures Incorporated is a family-owned business based in Greenwood specializing in steel structures. Owner Will Gray has 20 years experience doing the job right and making sure you're satisfied with the structure you have a need for. Gray Steel Structures serves both commercial and residential customers. Whatever your need may be, mini storage, RV storage, home workshop, or any metal building need, make Gray Steel Structures your first call. Gray Steel Structures, 252-2783. That's 252-2783.
GraySteelStructuresInc.com. That's Gray with an A.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
In a white room with black curtains near the station. Black roof country, no gold pavement, tired starlings. Silver horses ran down moonbeams in your dark eye. Dawnlight smile on you, leaving my contentment. I'll wait in this place where the sun never shines. Wait in this place where the shadows run from themselves. You said no strings could secure you at the station.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Woods texted in, it's not a baseball thing, surprisingly. Apparently his grandparents at a grocery store. And while he was stocking produce, he would sneak some of those candy cigarettes as well.
Yeah.
They even sell those things now?
I
Are
think-
you allowed to sell candy cigarettes?
They still sell them.
Yeah. There's it's like a dipping stick, right? Like when you get the Fun Dip, it's the same material that
It may not say cigarettes on the packaging anymore, but I've seen them within the last year.
The ones I remember almost made it look like it was a pack of Lucky Strikes.
And then it had a little red,
it.
like a mat. I looked like kind of a match about to spark.
The weird thing is
the end of it was red too. You know, it's 'cause,
That's
supposed
what
to
I
look like
mean.
the ember. Yeah.
So did you guys also blow out through the cigarette first?
But
so you get
the
that
other
sugar
type
puff?
of fake
They made
nicotine
some like that.
was the beef jerky in the can too. That was fun.
Well, what about Big League Chew? What is that supposed to be?
That's
You're telling me that's not supposed to be dip?
Yeah. Don't you
That's
put the
right.
dip in the Big League Chew and then like make it a big thing and then real juicy? Yeah.
I think there are guys who did
Yeah.
that. You're absolutely right. Now, I have still never tried any sort of spit tobacco, and it's been a long time since I had a cigarette.
That's a good thing, Phil.
But
yeah.
I like the beef jerky.
Mhm.
My son has a thing for beef jerky. He loves beef jerky, and then I showed him. I pulled one of those things up once, and I showed it to him, and I was like, "You want one of these?" He thought it was tobacco.
Yeah.
He's like, "I can't have that.
Yeah.
I'm 10." Like, no, this only looks like it. And then of course, the one thing I can do is I can smack my finger the way that you're supposed to smack your finger to pack the little tins. And but I never had the outline of the tin on my butt like every
Nice.
single ball player I ever knew. But I could smack those things. But yeah, you go and get those beef jerky. It's like beef jerky dust.
Yeah, it's just cool. It's something cool.
I'm a
for
little
the kids.
worried that I would inhale the beef jerky, which I don't think that's a healthy thing. Probably inhaling smoke is better than inhaling meat, right?
And who knows what meat that is? Yeah.
That's a very
Yeah,
good
no,
point.
I dipped Copenhagen long cut for a decade. So
Ooh.
yeah, it got too expensive, man. It got to where it was 2 cans was $14 or so. You know, it's just like you can't afford that anymore.
It
you
got
know?
expensive just in time before you lost your lower jaw.
I'm telling you, I guess I have. It's been 2018 or so since I've dipped. So
I saw that when
it's
I was
been
a
few
kid,
years,
and it's
yeah.
like I remember thinking it was cool, and then my mom showing me like former baseball players with missing their lower
Lenny
jaws. Like,
Dykstra, didn't he have some? Jim Kelly had his throat. He had surgery on that. Yeah.
Whatever Dykstra did, something happened to his brain too. 'Cause
Mm.
that guy's off the rocker, way off the rocker. I don't know if it was the spit tobacco. Might have just been who he is. Who we are is halftime, and we're heading into hour number 2. Phone calls and texts at 877-377-6963. We'll be right back.
Is there anything worse than a cold shower? How about water damage after a leaking water heater? If it's time for a new water heater, you deserve the best. Right now, take $150 off a new tank water heater, or upgrade to endless hot water with a tankless water heater and get $300 off. Don't settle for good when you can have the best. Schedule today at gopascal.com. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-DOOR or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
Get by your locally owned TGI Fridays in Fort Smith for the Fridays Feast for 2. Bring your +1 because with the Fridays Feast for 2, you get an appetizer, 2 entrees, and a full-size dessert starting at just $28. Order online at Fridays.com and have your Feast for 2 ready for curbside pickup when you arrive. TGI Fridays in Fort Smith at the corner of I-540 and Rogers.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
One call cleans it all.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, sunny, quite breezy at times. Our high this afternoon, upper 60s to near 70, with winds up to near 35 miles per hour early, but diminishing throughout the afternoon. Mainly clear overnight lows, low to mid 40s tonight, and then tomorrow, sunshine, our high into the low 70s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Metters Lumber True Value, with locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville. There's always a Metters Lumber near you.
I hate everything you just said. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Phil said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's Halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope, hold the rope, hold the rope. I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Yes, sir. Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
Hold the rope, hold the rope, hold the rope on three. 1, 2, 3. Turn that back, Drew.
Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
We're at that point of the year, guys, where I make like a day appearance at home, where I moved to last summer, in order to do laundry, fold it, pack it again, have dinner with the kids, kiss them on the cheek, pat them on the head, and then leave again. Because I gotta get to South Carolina with women's basketball tomorrow, so I'm gonna be in studio with you guys so I don't miss the flight.
Sweet. Always a fun time.
Can we do anything about maybe getting Fish City Grill to do a Tuesday thing? Nah, I know that won't happen. I don't want to take your food away from you.
It sure worked out well last week.
No, do it on Tuesday, man. Let's do it when we're all here. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
Well, don't do it Friday.
It's not up to me, though, on things.
Oh, you won't even be
I
here
won't even be
Friday.
here Friday. Yeah, we need to talk to the right people.
You're at the All-American Steakhouse.
How fun is that going to be?
In Springdale on Friday.
That's going to be cool.
Now, I don't know where I'm going to be on Friday yet. I just know I'm not with you Thursday because there's an 11 o'clock tip-off for Arkansas-Mizzou in Greenville at the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament. You'll have Clay Henry. If Arkansas wins Thursday, then I'm not with you Friday. But if they lose, I'll be with you Friday. So it's that time of the year, you know. Lots of unknowns as we get into March. That's what I think of March. It's like it's an incredibly exciting month, but also to those whose lives are dictated by the wins and the losses of the teams, you just don't know where you're going to be on a daily basis. So I do know I'm folding laundry between commercials. It's a multifaceted afternoon now here on Halftime. Clint from the 479 reminded us, you're right, Tony Gwynn died from throat cancer. He was a habitual spit tobacco
he
user.
had one. I know Jim Kelly had a couple different surgeries about it, but that's one that comes to mind. And, yeah, it's the man, I'm telling you, there is like you talk about it because it used to be, I don't know. Yeah, it's not that Copenhagen long cut, that brown sugar. Woo.
Ooh, man. It's ubiquitous, though, in sports. I think it is. Even in baseball and the minors where they banned spit tobacco.
It's because of the fields,
years ago.
I think, too. Is they banned it because it's not grass fields anymore, I think. Like that's more of the reason why they don't want it on the fake stuff.
They banned it really because they don't want kids starting the habit and see ball players.
You do what your idols do, whatever you see them doing it, yeah.
They ban sunflower seeds because of what it does to the drainage systems at baseball parks. But I don't know if tobacco does the same thing. Hopefully, if it did, they probably would then ban it for that very reason. BE's throat's on fire just thinking about it. You're right. Just smelling that stuff. And then I'm not like trying to act all goody two-shoes here, and I'm not 100% pure, but I will say I can have a little bit of pride of being around professional baseball and minor league baseball since 1995, so I'm almost on 30 years now, and have never put that stuff in my mouth. Put other stuff in my mouth that probably shouldn't have, but not the spit tobacco. got Charlie on hold with us. Yeah, I'm sure Charlie's put some things in his mouth he shouldn't have done before. But no need to get into that right now, Charlie. How are you?
What's up, Phil? How are you? How you guys doing?
I'm into making our callers laugh their heads off before they start talking.
Man, I was
from
laughing
Clarksville
before.
will be next, I'm sure.
I was laughing before I even answered, man. Yeah, I mean, I actually have never been into that either. Tobacco, no way. Absolutely not. You know, the closest thing I got to a cigarette one time, my mom actually smoked them, and she put them in her drink, and I took a drink by accident. And, yeah, that was the worst thing ever. And then, you know, I smoked a joint or two back in the day. Not anything illegal. Okay, it's illegal. But anyway, I did do that. Okay, I did do that a few times in college. Okay, we all have done the thing. But
I didn't mean to go in that direction, Charlie, but I guess I set you up for it, right?
You did, man. I mean, you set me up. But anyway, other than that, I'm good. And my dad will tell you about that tobacco. You know, he was actually an alcoholic for years before he met my mom. He'll tell you that tobacco ain't no good either. So anyway, he doesn't do any of it. But let me touch on something real quick. Phil, I know you were really tuned into the baseball game the other day and all of that, and I do want to ask you a thing or two about that, about Game 3. I know we struggled a bit. But in this basketball game the other day, Matt, I'm going to look at it from this standpoint. You know, there's only been 2 teams to go into Alabama this year and give them a game, and it's us and Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And so I am going to give us some credit for that because, listen, basketball is just a game of runs. And right now on the road, we're having a hard time. It's like we're letting that run go too long, that second run, and we're having a hard time, you know, kind of whatever it is. It's just more than anything that made me mad. I think about the other day, we cannot miss that many free throws. We just can't. And then I thought the rebounding in the second half I thought it was more lopsided than it was. I thought they did a much better job on the glass than we did until I looked at the statistics, because it was pretty even at the half. I just felt like in the second half they out-hustled us to all the loose balls. They killed us on the glass, and we didn't make our free throws. I mean, from a game plan standpoint, you could argue game plan-wise, we only gave up 3 threes. We followed the game plan better in this game than we did in Fayetteville. Now, granted, we gave up some drives. I get it. But you got to live with something when you're playing against the number 2 team in the country. You know, you just have to. And I thought we had our chances, and it just is what it is. But, you know what, I'm not as bummed out about this one as I was A&M. I'm just not. And I think it's just because of the competition, and Alabama's so good. A&M is too. But anyway, Phil, I do want to ask you about Game 3 a little bit. You know, I listened to some of it. But I want to ask you about a couple of hitters that I think that I hope that we're able to get going here pretty soon. As far as Slavens and Stovall from last year, what do you think's kind of been the reason behind their struggle so far this year? Are they just not getting – I mean, I know that's a long answer, so I'm going to let you answer it. But we got to get those guys going because some of our other guys are playing well. Anyways, guys, I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
All right, Charlie, thank you. Matt, let's go with basketball first. Look, I mean, Alabama is a great team. 58 points allowed in the second half, though. Something, you know, defensively, there had to be some breakdowns there. And I understand, like, Miller's an incredibly talented player. You know, I know Quinterly had one of his better games coming off the bench. But 58 points in the second half, 30 more than they allowed in the first. And, yeah, the free throws are something that you do have to worry about because that's something that's not home, not road, not neutral site-based. It's just late-game free throws. The team struggled at that and at times. And, you know, I'm always the person that will say, well, all right, so free throws might have won you the game. The other team also missed some free throws. Bama went 25 of 30. Arkansas had 1 fewer free throw attempt. And so, I mean, 20 out of 29. It's not bad. It was just the situations where they missed them.
We missed 8 in the second half. We only missed 1 in the first half. Yeah, I thought Jordan Walsh was okay. I mean, our bigs, they let us play. We didn't have really any inside presence with our bigs. Not that that's what we're going for. You'd like to see a little bit more out of our bigs, but man, they let them play. They let them. They didn't call a lot of ticky-tacky fouls, and usually that's advantage us. I think our game travels. This team will play anybody, anywhere. I thought Brandon Miller and Nick Smith were clearly hands not even close the best players on the floor. It was definitely Brandon Miller did a couple things that I hadn't seen anybody do this year. And that's really the first time I had watched him play. That dude, now you see, I guess you see what all the hype was. The thing I loved about this team, Phil, is Nick Smith is his progression. It's just the way it's supposed to be going. He's getting better each week.
And he can play the whole game, practically the entire game.
He's such a good passer. He can score inside, outside, off the dribble, catch and shoot. He's confident. His stroke looks good. Good arc on the ball. Everything. He's going to get better. He just needs minutes. It'd have been if we'd have got him 7 games earlier. Just. Whatever, every time he goes out there, he's getting better. He's growing, and so he's been fun to watch. And I know I keep saying the same thing, but man, I love some Ricky Council. He's probably my favorite player out there. I love watching him play and how he plays the game. He is fun to watch. He's a great Razorback. I hope he comes back again for another year. Man, he's a stud.
And by the way, Nick Smith has been named SEC Freshman of the Week.
Rightfully
for the
so,
last
man.
couple of ball games.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Thoughts on the hitters that he asked about. Stovall will be fine, but the jammed thumb from Tuesday against Grambling, I think that's affected him at the plate because that's his top hand. He's a right-handed thrower, but a left-handed hitter. So that left hand is his top hand. It's the power hand, and there's a matter of, you can play, but his thumb and that portion of his hand just isn't as strong as it was before it got jammed. And I think the bat might be dropping just a tiny little bit on his swing, but he'll be fine. I think Stovall will be fine. Hopefully the thing doesn't just turn into a nagging, painful injury that he just has to get used to playing with, because I think it affected him on Saturday and yesterday hitting-wise. And I think it's also one of those injuries that's a little bit tough to just fully heal from if you're playing on an every-game basis. But he'll have to figure out a way, and hopefully this thing just ends up going away.
So are you taping it up? Because I know when you'd have, as a quarterback, Phil, if it's anything close, grabbing that ball and trying to throw it, man, if your thumb's messed up, man, you just can't get any pressure on it. You can't grip at all. So it's just real hard for him to grip that. I mean, it's just got to be, fights through. And the only thing you can do for stuff like is rest, man. That's a hard. You got to ice it and rest. But they'll try to finagle some type of tape job, but it's still tough because of just the natural motion that you're using your hand for. It's still tough to tape it up.
Well, and the good thing is that it's not his throwing hand, which would really affect your throwing hand. The inability to grip it properly, and have the right strength with the thumb. Yeah. But I think it's affecting his swing a bit. And with Slavens, I think he's been fine. I mean, he's 9 for 28. That's a .321 batting average. He's still chasing a little bit out of the zone. He's not swinging at the first pitch as often as we'd seen previously. So I don't think pitchers view him quite the same as, this guy's going to swing at whatever we throw. But I think Slavens, with Brady, it's just a matter of, I don't know if it's pitch recognition or just trying to shrink his zone a little bit, because he's had probably the biggest strike zone, and I just mean pitches that he will swing at. He'll chase up out of the zone. He'll go after that changeup or breaking ball in the dirt. But I have seen he has shown a little bit more patience in these first 7 games. But we'll see what happens once you get into the SEC. Paul in Fayetteville texts in that they didn't play a great game, meaning the basketball team, and lost by 3 with a chance to tie against the second-ranked team in the country. Like, you've got to walk away from that. Like, kicking yourself, gosh, we had a 9-point lead. How did this happen again on the road? And you were the most popular team in college basketball over the weekend, because right now everybody's got real reason to dislike Alabama, and Arkansas couldn't quite pull it off. But in the grand scheme of it, when you know that you are not playing on an opponent's home court in March, like if that game were played in Fayetteville,
I like our makeup.
They probably win.
I like it starts with the coach. It starts with Coach Musselman. I like this team's energy. I like us going at the right time, and we're getting hot at the right time. You don't want to play the Arkansas Razorbacks right now.
I also like the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. It's the #1 volume lure made by Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. They make 20 fishing brands, and the #1 is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. It's made by the Millions in Fort Smith. Without a doubt, the Baby Shad is the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the United States. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float. You're going to find it as productive as live bait. It's the Bobby Garland Baby Shad, available at learnet.com and tackle stores everywhere. Room for calls and texts in the upcoming segment, 877-377-6963. It's halftime, and we're right back.
This is the Gimme the Hogs Chuck podcast presented by Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company.
Dak Prescott is a very, very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the guy that's going to take him to the Super Bowl. I know people talk about the head coach. They talk about receivers. They talk about the GM at Dallas. They debate Jerry. You've got to go get a quarterback that's capable of taking you to a Super Bowl championship.
Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
A new year means it's time for new work boots, work shoes, safety shoes, casual shoes, fishing shoes, hiking boots, and cowboy boots. Gelco Outdoors has the largest selection and the best brands, ready to make your feet feel happy in the new year. Crappie fishermen, Gelco is stocking up for the spring season. Come check out the gear. 50% off clothing on the clearance rack, loaded with New Year savings. Gelco Outdoors, your store for work and the great outdoors. 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Love is in the air at Crane Used Car Supercenter of Fort Smith. And dealer-operator Joe Pulliam is making sweetheart deals all month long. Like pre-owned vehicles starting as low as $7,497. Or payments as low as $269 a month. You'll fall in love with a Crane Pre-Love with lots to choose from. Kias and Land Rovers to full-size trucks, all backed by the Crane commitment. Rush to the Crane Used Car Supercenter, 8200 US 71 South in Fort Smith. UAC, see dealer for details.
The cold and flu seasons are here, and Law's Drug Store has what you need to safely care for you and your family. Law's Drug Store can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all the over-the-counter cold and flu remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointments for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Is your heating system leaving you out in the cold? Funny smells? Grinding noises? Or just plain not keeping you comfortable? If it's time for a new heating and air system, you deserve the best. Get a complete Pascal system replacement starting at only $99 a month. Don't settle for good when you can have the best. Schedule today at gopascal.com. Professional people, professional service, Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit patriottransport.com to apply. That's patriottransport.com.
2023 annual passes are now available at the Ben Guerin Golf Course. We offer a variety of plans to fit your budget and needs. Sign-ups for the Spring Youth Golf Academy start March 1st for boys and girls ages 3 to 16 at the Ben Guerin Community Complex. Men's and ladies leagues will also be starting soon. If you're having a party or family event, consider renting the Ben Guerin Community Complex. It also has updated audio-visual capability for business meetings too. For more information, call 646-2444.
Are you needing new tires? Are you short on cash? Van Alma Tire can help you get back on the road. Come by Van Alma Tire and apply for caffeine. It only takes minutes to get approved, and you can get the tire or the service you need to get your vehicle back on the road. Top-of-the-line tires, brake service, and more. Van Alma Tire is here to help you. Located on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Must be 18 or older. Valid ID. Active checking account and income at least $1,000 per month.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Driving by the lane with my hands in my pocket, jingling a wish coin at a stove. I'm finding out what's down on the cares in the world when I get older. Climbing up on the back porch fence just to see the dogs running with the ring and a question. And my shivering voices slinging through a crack. Na, 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 na. I better go it alone. Na, 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 na.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
So is everybody secure in the idea that Arkansas men's basketball is going to be a March Madness team? You know, you're looking at the stand, and of course you're not going by SEC standings. There's a team ahead of you in Vanderbilt in the standings that is certainly not a tournament team at 16-13. But I think Arkansas is in. I think the fact that you're playing on the road for Alabama and Tennessee, loss either of those games isn't going to hurt your net ranking very much. Kentucky's playing very well right now too. So I'm not sure if your net ranking takes any kind of a hit. But let's just, for argument's sake here, Matt, and say that the sky does fall over the next couple of games. You lose them both, and you finish the regular season 19-12. Do you need to do anything in Nashville to secure that spot? Because it looks like right now Arkansas is on that 8-9 seed. You know, a couple of losses I think maybe knocks you back to 10. Maybe you end up playing in the first 4. I don't know.
Yeah, if you lose both these next 2 games, I think you need to win one in the SEC, just for your own belief. You know, not only for the outside looking in, but just the inside that locker room. To lose 3 games in a row, and then if you go to the SEC tournament and lose it, that'd be 4 games in a row as L's. That's not good for psychology. I mean, just your morale. Let's try to get one of these wins. This team's talented enough. I think there's but depending on matchups, we got everybody healthy. I just don't see any way we can't make a Sweet 16 again, no matter what our seed is, as long as we're not an 8 or a 9. I think if we're 8-9, then you got to play that 1 seed the second round. It's could we do it? Yes, we can beat a number 1 seed. I believe we could. But everything would have to go right, and that one gets to play a 16 the first, so they're just kind of getting loosened up. Usually they play. Usually it's just not going to happen. But I think this team's in, even if they were to lose the next 2 games. But maybe they'd be in a play-in game.
Yeah, I mean, it also shows you the value of how you schedule in non-conference and how those teams perform throughout their conference seasons. Look, I mean, Missouri. You'd think Missouri should be a lock with 21 wins and a winning conference record, but their net ranking is 49th. So, I mean, there's nothing that guarantees that you're in with a 49 net ranking. Arkansas's net ranking is 14th. It's wild to think about this. They are right now tied for, Arkansas is in 8th place in the SEC right now. 8th place in the conference standings, but they have the conference's 3rd best net ranking. You know, I mean, those are difficult things to jibe against each other. But just based on the net ranking, you think they're in no matter what happens.
19-13, you're in a playing game. If we don't win any more games, if 19-13 is not a good look, I mean, that's really kind of that's not a good successful regular season for this Arkansas Razorback team if they're 19-13. So I hope they're 20. You need to get to 20 wins. That's how I always looked at it. If you can get to 20 wins, it gives yourself a chance, and we got 3 more opportunities, I think, to get there. 3 more guaranteed opportunities is what I meant, and we'll find a way to win one of these games.
877-377-6963 for any thoughts on whether or not Arkansas is good enough to get into the SEC tournament or into the NCAA tournament.
Phil, it's gonna these young kids, emotional game. You said it. That atmosphere at Alabama Como Arena, that man, it was jumping. It was an electric atmosphere. Very emotional game for everybody involved. This going to Tennessee, this is going to be interesting to see how we react and how we respond, because it'd be so easy for us to go up there and lay an egg. We just spent what we had at Alabama, a hard game, and you got beat down. You got beat by 3, but you fought hard. So emotionally, you're drained. So let's kind of get yourself back. You play a week. It's a quick turnaround. Late game on Tuesday, not Wednesday. So road game. You know how you've been traveling, how you taking care of your body. So it'd be interesting to see how they come out if they lay an egg or if they come out. Because if they do, you'll be able to say, man, that's why they had 2 tough games. They had a road game. They had that. We'll get Kentucky at home. This will tell you a lot about this Razorback team when we go up to Tennessee, how we perform.
You know, the last time Arkansas played consecutive road games, they won both of them, at South Carolina and then at Kentucky. And those were the first, and I think right now still the only, road wins of the year. Now, I've seen with women's basketball, and it's different teams, and men and women are different in how they react to things. But a little bit of the same situation from the women's team back in January that had to play a Monday night at LSU. They were number 2 in the country at that point.
Had some travel problems too, right?
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the travel problem. It was just how much they put into the LSU
Oh,
game.
Yes, sir. I agree with you.
And all the emotion of that game, and they took the lead in the last few minutes.
I thought y'all got stuck
3.
in LSU an extra day before y'all went back to.
Yeah, you're right. We did. Yeah. I'd forgotten about that, probably on purpose. It wasn't miserable or anything.
But for the players, though, it's hard. Yeah.
Well, that's right, and there was 1 day less of preparation because you played
Rest
on a
time.
Monday instead of a Sunday. But there was that added, like that. There's like an emotional letdown. There has to be an emotional letdown,
especially the young kids. That's when you need your veteran guys like a Debo Davis, Ricky Council, guys that have done it before to step up and really kind of take a hold of that locker room, because this would tell you a lot about this character of this Razorback team, how they go and perform against Tennessee.
Jason thinks if they lose both of the next 2 games, they end up an 8 to 10 seed. Now, in this point, then, and I've always said, I don't know if the committee really, pays that much attention to what a team does in their conference tournament unless you win the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But potentially, like, let's say you end up as the 9 seed or 10 seed in the SEC tournament, then you very well may end up playing. You're playing a 1 through 4 seed if you win a game.
Well, you're going to play a Purdue or a Houston. They probably won't put you on Alabama's side, but you're going to probably play a Purdue or a Houston.
No, I mean in the conference tournament. At that
I
point,
got you.
Like you win a game, you're playing against Alabama or you're playing against Tennessee.
Yeah, you're going to play somebody good. Yeah, absolutely. I thought you meant a 10 seed in the March tournament.
Yeah, well, in the March tournament, then you're playing a 2 seed.
Yeah, but then you're not. Yeah, I mean,
you're going to have to beat one of those teams sooner or later, or hope that there's some kind of an upset. I mean, was anybody scared of it? He had to beat Gonzaga last year to make it to the Elite 8. Gonzaga was a number 1 seed for
Gonzaga's.
We've seen you can do it here before. I don't know if it's anything to be afraid of, or anything like that. There are differences between 1 and 2 seeds, but I think that's just based on how they played against Alabama. They can go beat a number 1 seed on a neutral court. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And you don't have to worry about like an emotional letdown in the NCAA tournament, because if you have an emotional letdown and that means you lost a game, well, your season's over. So there's not a matter of that. You just kind of try to get the ball rolling downhill, and man, I can only imagine what it looks like if this team does get the ball rolling downhill and win game after game after game. I think they can pull it off.
You could have an Arkansas-Texas matchup in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Like I'm trying to look at some of those teams that you could get a rematch of an Arkansas-Gonzaga matchup there. So, yeah, 10 seed. I think we're going to take care of business, man, Phil. I think this team is growing up. I think they're getting better. I think they're going to put out a performance against Tennessee. I don't think they're going to have a letdown. They're going to figure it out. They might not win against Tennessee because it's a road game, but I don't see us going up there and laying an egg. I think we're going to compete and give our with this team playing. It's going to be a 1 to 2 possession game at the end of ball games. We're not going to get blown out. I mean, we're going to compete, and that's what they're going to do.
Michael in Fort Smith doesn't think the committee pays attention to conference tournaments. He points to Texas A&M last year. I don't think you play yourself off the bubble in your conference tournaments. I think A&M was on the bubble last year. I don't think they are anymore. They might have had a bad non-conference. The way they played in the SEC, and just the fact that they got a 13-3 conference record.
And they're strong.
21-8 overall. That's a tournament
They're
team.
a tough out too, Phil. I mean, they bang you. They beat you up.
Jamie May thinks Arkansas is going to beat Tennessee. I would not be surprised if it does happen.
Man, it's a tough game. I'm telling you, young kids, they just emotional game. You just played Alabama. They could be a little flat in that first half. We'll see how they show up. It's going to tell you a lot about this team, how they perform and how they carry themselves against this Tennessee team after that hard loss.
Stay tuned. More halftime after a quick break. There was a tie in college baseball yesterday. Ugh. I hate ties. Halftime right back.
I am not who you say I am.
I'm a pastor.
I am a caregiver.
I am a father.
I am a friend.
I'm a doctor.
Chances are someone you know and love is struggling with substance use disorder, but recovery is possible. Help starts when we stop stigma, view each other with compassion, and reach out for help. Call 1-800-622-HELP to get started. This message sponsored by the North Arkansas Partnership for Health Education and supported by grant number 2018-AR-BX-K085 awarded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Wheels RV wants you to seek out all the natural state has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
With over 8,000 square feet of all the latest trends in lighting and plumbing fixtures, Great House Fixtures has all the brands you know and love, such as Visual Comfort Lighting and Delta Faucets. Their experienced staff can help you design and select the perfect fixtures for your uniquely you home, including sinks, tubs, faucets, custom showers, indoor and outdoor lighting, chandeliers, mirrors, hardware, and more. Make your house a great house. Learn more at greathousefixtures.com, located on 0th Street in Fort Smith. Great House Fixtures by J&B Supply.
Let me grab my car keys and we'll roll.
We still going to that new bar downtown?
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Lexi, give me driving directions from home to downtown Bar District.
Autocorrect. Suggest Uber. Pick up, home. Drop off downtown Bar District.
No, I'm driving.
Suggest the Metro bus. Departing in 12 minutes.
Huh. Point taken, Lexi. We'll grab a ride.
If you drink, don't drive. Decide to ride. Brought to you in partnership by Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and Uber.
It's a new year. Why not put a new-to-you vehicle in your driveway? Road Chevrolet wants to buy your vehicle today, and that means you can get out of your old ride and into a great car, truck, or SUV from Road Chevrolet. In fact, trucks starting at only $14,482. Yeah, trucks starting at $14,482. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Do you need an attorney that you can actually speak with? You need Hickey & Hull Law Partners. The attorneys at Hickey & Hull understand the importance of client communication and are taking the time to meet you, respond to emails, and return calls. Every case is important, and they strive to give each one the time and attention it deserves. Call today or visit them online at kevinhickeylaw.com to set your consultation. Hickey & Hull Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Are you ready to work for one of the area's premier companies? If so, Forest Grin wants to offer you a rewarding new career. Forest Grin has been building the foundation of the River Valley for over 80 years. Forest Grin is recruiting for experienced concrete finishers, equipment operators, truck drivers, and laborers. Forest Grin is a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence. Join the Forest Grin legacy. Apply now on any device, anywhere at goforestgrin.com. That's goforestgrin.com. Forest Grin Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Auburn and Southern California finished in a 12-12 tie game yesterday, baseball on the Plains.
Half a point apiece, huh? 1 point apiece, yeah?
Right, yeah. That's right. Yeah, use the old NHL way to do ties. They each get 1 point for a tie. Gosh, it's been a long time since there was a tie game in the NFL. It's more. It happens more often now in the NFL.
Yeah, it does.
Because they lop 5 minutes off of overtime.
Yeah, and they get down to that last or two possessions. Usually, the reason there's a tie game is because teams can't score, so they're not good anyways. It's not there's if they can both score. Usually, it's not. You don't have that problem. But when you get those 12-12 games, it's kind of hard to watch too. It's like let's go.
And I mean, I used to go to a lot of Pittsburgh Penguins games that would end in a tie, and you'd walk out of there like not knowing how to feel about it. Usually, if you like came from behind and managed the tie, you walked out feeling good.
Yep.
If you choked on the lead and ended up with the tie, you'd be like, "Oh man."
That's how soccer is. Same thing. That's how you go to their post match. If you're winning the game, the entire match, and then all of a sudden in the 83rd minute somebody scores, it's just like you're not thankful that you still got a point. It's just because you let two slip away.
Well, we might have some really kind of goofy ways to finish overtime in college football, especially with this whole 2-point conversion thing after the – and I don't even like calling it the first overtime, the second overtime, the third overtime, because all it is a series. And it's not a series if you're doing 2-point conversions. But at least there aren't tie games in college football any longer.
What do they call in tennis? So it should be first overtime, second overtime, and then it's like the point advantage. How when they go
deuce,
that's
and
what
an advantage.
That's what it should be. Yeah, deuce advantage. Yeah,
I like that idea.
Instead of keep going, because you're right. It's not another overtime. They're just running a play after that. After the 2 times, then you just run a 2-point play, and then the other team runs a 2-point play. Yeah.
You ever been part of a tie game? I've never called a tie game. Basketball, football, baseball, and I've been doing play-by-play for 25 years. I've never been a part of a tie game.
When it's funny. So when you're in high school and you're about to go out to the basketball team, the girls' teams usually play before you. Start with the JV slate and the girls. You don't want overtime. You're like you just want one of them to win so we can get going.
That's how I always feel before any of the basketball games for Arkansas, because if they're on television and the game,
it's ridiculous how we can't.
The game before them goes longer, then you get pushed back 5 minutes for your tip off.
Well, it's just like you got to go to SEC Network Plus. It's like what are y'all talking about? Where is this, man? It's ridiculous.
So we're in this age now where baseball has a time clock, but there's still not usually a tie game unless there are travel restrictions, and so that's what happened. That's what happened for Auburn and Southern California. Keep in mind, that series was supposed to be on USC's campus in Los Angeles, but they had a little problem with snow. I mean, a lot of snow, and they weren't able to do that. So instead, the day before the series, I think they just said, all right, well, we'll get a flight, and they got a flight, and they came out to Auburn. Could you imagine two places which are more dissimilar than Los Angeles, California, and the USC campus right there in the middle of town, and Auburn, Alabama, which up until a couple of years ago, Opelika's grown and Auburn's growing too. But I mean, that Auburn's got a little bit of a feeling of the middle of nowhere.
It's kind of smaller than Fayetteville, isn't it? Like when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a smaller.
That's why they call it what do they call it? The cutest little village, the prettiest little village?
Yeah.
Fayetteville's not a village. It's a city. It's just got a ville at the end of it. But I went back and looked. Dave Van Horn just recently, because they asked him before the season started about would you be for or against starting a 10th inning with a runner at second base, just like Major League Baseball is doing now, which is international rules.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way international baseball has been played for a long time. So Dave has coached games like that because he was the collegiate national team head coach. I think it was 10 or 12 years ago. So he's coached games like that. But I think it'd be over Dave's dead body that they would do that in college baseball. I don't remember being in a situation where we were even close to facing a tie in the little over 8 years I've called these games. Dave's never coached a tie game. Norm DeBrine has. 1987, opening day. Shea Hamilton just texted in about this. He used to be the SID for baseball back then. That's right. And they've tied the second game of an opening day doubleheader at 2-2. And I texted Norm DeBrine to ask, like, how did this happen? And he says, I could explain. It's a long story. Our bus ran out of fuel on the other side of Russellville going to Memphis. I think that was it. So maybe Shea remembers the exact situation that went down there, because it sounds like it wasn't a matter of, like, we didn't have lights at the stadium. It was a matter of our bus didn't have gas, because you don't have to worry about that if you're on a bus. But for a plane trip, like Kentucky, I think, does commercial flights, not charter flights. In this situation with Auburn, I would think Southern California has a charter flight, so I don't know exactly the situation or the particulars about it. I just know they weren't allowed to start an extra inning after 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's just got to feel so weird. Like, I remember the last time I had a team that I cared about that tied a game, it was the Steelers, and they've tied twice in my lifetime, once against Cleveland. I think that was a couple of years ago, and I remember them tying a game against Michael Vick's Atlanta Falcons, in which they choked on a fourth-quarter lead, and so it felt like a loss.
Well, they should. I really believe NFL should not in any single game in a tie. You have field goal kickers. You go to penalty kicks in a soccer game. If you take your field goal kicker out there and make him and you go that way, make him hit a 40-yard field goal, and then you go the first one to miss. Just keep going back and forth. However you're going to do it, 5 in a row, whatever you want to do. They should be able to figure it out to where they don't have ties anymore. And what do the field goal kickers do, man? Go out there and kick. Be part of the team, man. Put the pressure on them. Talk about ultimate pressure right there, man. That's what you got to live for right there. How awesome.
Yeah, just watch your kicker, throw away the candy cigarette as he walks onto the field.
Absolutely, yeah. Big league chew, you know what I mean? And I'm all out of bubble gum.
In hockey, they do the shootout. It's exactly like soccer. You get 5 players, one-on-one against the goalie. Mm-hmm. You have a shootout, just like that. Basketball, 5-minute overtime seems to work. I'm trying to think of other sports that
if you play your overtime and what it is, if you score a touchdown the first drive, then you win the game. Both teams don't get a chance to possess the ball if they score a touchdown. But that's kind of. But
of course, it really just hit me here now. I'm talking to somebody that knows exactly what it's like to play in a football game that goes to 6 and 7 overtimes. You must have hoped you couldn't have been hoping. It was like, can we just end this in a tie? At that point, you're just like, no, we're not losing this game.
My favorite, Coach John Thompson. That's my favorite part about that first game, the Ole Miss one. That was 58-56, and just talking to him sideline and stuff and getting him going. It's like, Coach, come on. And then afterwards, we got like a game ball. Everybody that was involved in that game. He goes, what am I going to do with this? I had a defense give up 56 points. What defensive coordinator puts that on his resume?
No kidding. It really skews the statistics. You're not kidding about that. Oh, so-and-so threw for 8 touchdowns. Yeah, well, how many of those drives started on the 25?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how you do it for baseball. That's why you put the runner at second base, so that you can at least kind of guarantee there's an opportunity to score. But, I mean, I've called a 20-inning baseball game by myself. I might have hoped that they could have put a runner at third base with no outs if you get to the 20th inning. Please, let's get this thing over with. Wade's giving us a call, 877-377-6963. Brandon wants a one-round home run derby. I don't know.
That's what baseball is anyways, isn't it? It's just strikeouts and home runs. Yeah.
You're right. Well, let's have a field off. We'll take ground balls at second base. That's going to be really,
bunt
really
down
exciting.
the line. They do that in the Japanese All-Star game. They bunt, and they try to make it land on. I mean, how cool is that, right?
Target practice for bunting to decide the World Series championship. Sounds great. Hi, Wade. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, guys. How's everybody doing today?
I've got more energy than I thought I'd have.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think this pitching clock. I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think eventually these guys are going to they'll adjust to it. I mean, there's been there's a little bit of confusion, but I think it's going on. I think it's already a success. And another thing is I was sickened Saturday, about the Razorbacks losing, and I left here. I had to go to work at halftime when they were up by 9 points, and I got to work and they were down by 1 point when they started the second half, and then it just sour grapes from there. It was just sickened me. But another thing I wanted to mention was a guy that in the NBA, and I think you guys can relate to it. One player that I think I had the most respect for of any player in the NBA is Damian Lillard. After
71.
that, not because he scored 71 points last night, but he stays on a team that has not done that well over the years. And you look at some of these other guys, Kevin Durant.
He doesn't have any help out there. You're right, man. He hasn't had a lot of help.
But he's hanging in there.
Oh, he's my favorite point guard out there in the NBA. I was talking to Phil before the show about it. I love some Damian Lillard.
I do too. I think he's awesome, and my hat goes off to him. You know, he's hanging in there, and he wants to win a championship at Portland. And I'm not a big Portland fan, but the way he handles himself and carries himself, I think it's just awesome.
Is that the Rose Garden, City of Roses, or something out there? Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that's about all I got to comment on.
Thanks very much, Wade.
Man after my own heart, Wade. I love it. I'm a Damian Lillard guy, man. If I had to start my team, you know, you got a point guard, Damian Lillard's first pick right now.
You ever think he's ever going to leave Portland? Probably not. At this point, he's already the franchise's leading scorer.
He's
lean into it.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. That, you know, if you end up and mess around, you know, Toronto won one with Kawhi Leonard. You never saw them winning one. You might get some help here and win one. They'll put a statue out front if he does.
877-377-6963 if you got any thoughts on Dame Lillard or any of the other things that Wade brought up. I think you don't feel crushed that Arkansas lost that game to Alabama because they were right there with them. It's just, I think you would have really liked to see Alabama lose in front of their home fans.
Right.
More than anything, you want to see that team lose. And I'll tell you what, we're all going to celebrate when Alabama loses in the NCAA tournament. We can treat it like a championship.
Like the 85 Bears or the 72 Dolphins.
Or like the New England Patriots that went undefeated throughout the entire season until Eli and the Giants beat them.
Wow.
So I celebrated that as if my team won the Super Bowl. All right, we'll wrap up hour number 2 right after this.
Hey, little girl, you are sweet as honey, and I'm about to give you all of my money. But all I want you to do is just give it respect when I come home.
Peace of mind in buying a quality and well-maintained vehicle is top priority at Carco Auto Sales. Carco Auto Sales has been serving the River Valley and eastern Oklahoma for over 40 years and offers a variety of late model, low-mileage vehicles at unbeatable values. Come see the team at 2810 Midland Boulevard today or give them a call at 783-1722. You can check them out online at buyfromcarco.com. Carco Auto Sales. When you're ready.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the Homestead Tax Credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The Homestead Tax Credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Needing your roof repaired? Ramos Roofing is a local company that has over 25 years of experience, specializing in your residential or commercial roofing needs in the Oklahoma area. Ramos Roofing, a company you can trust, offering discounts to senior citizens, law enforcement, or healthcare workers, and assists in your insurance claims. Ramos Roofing, standing behind their work so you can stand under it. Call 479-420-9903. That's 420-9903. Ramos Roofing, working with you to build a better home.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing, and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Coke Zero Sugar tastes so good, people will take a taste any way they can. You never know when your best friend will lunge across a table and grab for it. A stranger could subtly swipe it, or your little brother might just ask for one too many sips. So no matter what you're doing, or who you're with, when you're enjoying a Coke Zero Sugar, be ready to protect it from takers at all times. Because one sip begs the question, is this the best Coke ever? Take a taste and see.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-STORE or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
Make it a 50-cent wing night at TGI Fridays in Fort Smith every Monday night. Start your week with this treat of a deal. TGI Fridays wings are 50 cents every Monday night from 5 p.m. to close, so you can shake off the Monday blues with some wings and some brews. It's 50-cent wings every Monday night from 5 p.m. to close at your locally owned TGI Fridays at the corner of I-540 and Rogers in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
To Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Short segment up against the top of the hour break. Couple callers on hold. Let's get to them right now. Jesse in Springdale, appreciate your call. You're on Halftime. How are you?
Good. Happy Monday.
And to you too.
Yeah, I got to start off, first of all, saying, Matt, we must be like kindred spirits or something, because I feel like every song I hear, I know which one you'd picked, because I listen to the same stuff coming up.
Courtney Barnett's OG, man. I'm a big fan. She was at the arena up there, Phil. What's the museum up there in Fayetteville right before COVID?
Crystal
Bridges, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, I think Saturday's game, I mean, yeah, it's disappointing we didn't get the win. It was nice to have a 9-point lead going into halftime. But, man, those scoring droughts are just killing us. Like, it seems like it happens every game. We go on at least a 5-6 minute scoring drought that rather lets a team back in the game or puts us really behind. It was really good to see in the last few minutes that we could actually trim that deficit down, which will definitely play key come tournament time. But, man, if we come into a game where it's foul fest and we've got to knock down some free throws to seal the deal, we might be in big trouble.
Jesse, appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you very much for doing that. Kevin in Hot Springs, you're next on Halftime. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. What's up?
I just had a comment from Matt about earlier going to Oaklawn and stuff on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. You down there? Do you have any luck?
Yeah, I was down there Saturday. Yeah, we did all right. It wasn't too bad.
Nice.
But my wife and I went to the Tracy Bird concert there at the casino, and I'll be danged if Coach didn't come in and watch the show.
How cool was that? Yeah.
No kidding. They all went to calling the Hogs. It was pretty wild. And then there at the end, when he went off the stage, they called him again, and Tracy Bird come back out and wanted to know why they was calling the Hogs, and then he figured out Coach Pittman was in the audience. So it was a pretty neat deal.
Sounds like a great Saturday in the Spa City,
Man,
Kevin.
yeah, Hot Springs was nice.
Kevin, thanks for the phone call. To the previous caller's point, I mean, he's right. It's understood that basketball is a game of runs, but you can't let those runs get out of hand into lengthy scoring droughts. I know that there was another one in the second half that certainly did the Razorbacks in a little bit. They were missed free throws during that scoring drought. Got to hit free throws. Too.
Yep.
One way to break things up there. 877-377-6963. We got one more hour of halftime, and Conor O'Gara from Saturday Down South will join us at 1:15. So there's a lot of time for your comments, for your questions, for your calls, and your texts. And we'll come right back, get into that third hour after this.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Gray Steel Structures Incorporated is a family-owned business based in Greenwood specializing in steel structures. Owner Will Gray has 20 years experience doing the job right and making sure you're satisfied with the structure you have a need for. Gray Steel Structures serves both commercial and residential customers. Whatever your need may be, mini storage, RV storage, home workshop, or any metal building need, make Gray Steel Structures your first call. Gray Steel Structures, 252-2783. That's 252-2783.
GraySteelStructuresInc.com. That's Gray with an A.
Where can you get RV show pricing without the RV show crowd? Breen RV in Van Buren. This month only, we are paying your sales tax on all 22 trailers in stock. Save thousands from Forest River, Coachman, Keystone, and Thor. Don't worry about payments for 90 days. Get free maintenance for life and all of your state sales tax paid at Breen RV. Check out the new Sunray that weighs less than 2,000 pounds. Don't wait until spring. Come by Breen RV today and let us show you how easy it is to buy a new or used RV.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
Call Randy Milam in Alma or Brandon Zimmerman in Barley.
Searching for a promising career change? Looking for an established company that pays competitively and values its team members? Then come be a part of the Beckert family. Beckert in Van Buren has immediate openings for production operators paying up to $29 an hour. Sundays are paid at time and a half, and night shift work has an added premium of $1 per hour. Applications are available 24/7 at Beckert, located off I-40 at Exit 3. Apply today.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, sunny, quite breezy at times. Our high this afternoon, upper 60s to near 70, with winds up to near 35 miles per hour early, but diminishing throughout the afternoon. Mainly clear overnight lows, low to mid 40s tonight, and then tomorrow, sunshine or high into the low 70s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Metters Lumber True Value, with locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville. There's always a Metters Lumber near you.
Paris Fort Smith.
2 seconds, 1 second, he lets fly with a shot.
From the Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
You both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold your roll, hold your roll, hold your roll. I put my heart up. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones. Hold your roll, hold your roll. Rock 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn that down, your
Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
And we're into the third hour halftime here on a glorious Monday. It was beautiful outside. The wind has ceased blowing like it was over the weekend. We don't have rain. It's nice. Lots to get to here on the second to last day of February. February actually is kind of like the most miserable month of the year. If you can remove the whole Valentine's Day thing from it, no matter what you feel about Valentine's, whether you love it or you hate it, February is like, you got to lean into winter, unfortunately, in February. Now in March, we can start feeling a little bit of that spring optimism, that should abound all throughout our brains because it's going to start warming. We're going to get those flowers starting to bloom. The grass will begin to grow. You're going to get those ugly brown leaves off if you haven't already done it. I love March. I could do without February. If we just went straight from January into March, I think I'd be all right.
Yeah, March is like Ricky Council jumping up. Spring is sprung, He getting up and dunking one down.
Your calls and texts at 877-377-6963. We had a legit text here out of the 479 talking about the Bama loss on Saturday. They'd be more palatable had the Razorbacks won more of those should-have-won games, meaning Missouri on the road, Vanderbilt on the road, and LSU. The one that I point to more than anything out of those three teams, is LSU. Like, Missouri is, I think, a good basketball team. A road loss to Mizzou is stomachable. You already beat them once. Vanderbilt, I think, is a really good team with that center that was out for a good chunk after they beat Arkansas. So I don't view that quite the same way as I do losing the first SEC game to a really bad LSU team. We didn't know how bad they were going to be at that point. But those were three games that, maybe you should have won. You didn't. A point at the LSU game first and foremost, but that maybe they'll look at this that at Vandy, but I mean that'll have something to do with the seeding too, because you got to take the entire body of work. But I did think you made a good point. 479 texter who did not give us his name. We do have a name of Ryan in Hot Springs who's given us a call on halftime here. Hi Ryan, thanks for the phone call. What's up?
Oh, I was going to say that February is absolutely the worst month of the year.
Yeah.
Not really good year. It's not a good month for hunting, not a good month for fishing. I mean, you might have some days here and there. You might be able to get out on the lake and maybe catch a few, but overall, it's just also, I want to cry after the Super Bowl because, football is over. I mean, I know we got the XFL, but it's not the same.
I was going to ask you about that, Ryan.
Same.
No, I was going to ask you about that because they've got the USFL and the XFL. I don't think the USFL has started yet. Are you watching any of this minor league football?
I have wanted to. My schedule has not allowed me to yet. I want to, and from what I've seen of clips, it actually looks decent. But it's like a house salad before your main course. You know what I'm saying?
It's like eating the salad after the main course. That's because you just watched the Super Bowl. Who wants to have the salad next?
You don't want to see A.J. McCarron play quarterback?
I watched him beat my Hogs too much. I'm good.
No, I know.
Or Paxton Lynch. I think I saw Paxton Lynch is playing.
Oh, please don't. That name makes me want to cry because
You're a Broncos fan.
I think, yes, sir. We could have got Allen from the Buffalo Bills instead. We went with him.
Oh
so
no!
I still want to cry. Yeah, I will still want to cry over that one. But the reason why I called is, everybody's kind of about our free throws, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, we went at number 2 in the nation and lost by 3. That is nothing to hold your head on or hang your head on.
Oh, I like this team. I like how they fight and compete. I like us.
You know what? Even with the missed free throws and some of the missed layups and that we've had, we were still right in the middle of that game. And you know what? I think I remember this show that I called in on last week, but I like our chances against Tennessee. I'm not predicting a win, but last week going into these 2 games, I liked our chances better to beat Tennessee than I did Alabama because they've not played as consistent as Alabama has. Again, they can still beat you obviously because they're at home, but at the same time, I just feel like your odds are more in your favor against Tennessee. And the way if they play like they did late in that game and they rally and they can play consistently, they got a legitimate shot at beating Tennessee tomorrow night. And then you couple that with a win over Kentucky, the SEC better look out for the tournament because we'll be good enough to win it next week.
The Mitchell twins have to show up tomorrow night against Tennessee.
Absolutely.
You can't have some zeros and either one of them just 15
One
minutes.
of them needs 10 boards. One of them needs 4 blocks. You got to aggregate. They got to get a double-double.
Well, and Black can't get in foul trouble early either.
Yeah, that messed up the flow.
That completely changed. If Black doesn't get in foul trouble Saturday, I honestly believe we win that game. Because he was rattled. I had to listen to the game, and I got to give y'all a big shout out to Hit That Line because the other radio station that's real popular in Little Rock kind of failed me. I went to listen to it, and they're playing Dickie V with Texas and Baylor. I'm like, why are we playing a Texas-Baylor game on a Arkansas network?
Well, I think part of that has to do with where it is you're listening from. Because you're in Hot Springs, you can get our Hit That Line stream and with the basketball game.
Well, I work in Benton, so that shouldn't have. I'm closer to Little Rock there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, you can always count on Hit That Line.
Man, it'd be cool if we go 2-0. We beat Tennessee and beat Kentucky.
Right. Well, that's all I got. I hope y'all have a great day and go Hogs.
Thank you, Ryan. Good to hear from you.
Oh, hey.
Yes.
Can I say, hey, Matt, I've been meaning to tell you this. I almost forgot again. Whenever your dad was at Mountain Pine, my cousin played for your dad.
Right on, man. That's awesome.
He talked very highly of your dad.
Man, a lot of great. He had a lot of great years there. Yes, sir.
So, well, I hope y'all have a great day and go Hogs.
Thank you, Ryan.
Mountain Pine Red Devils with the shout out.
It's not just tomorrow night's game; it's also Saturday against Kentucky.
Oh yeah, big
momentum. I know, you got to have great guard play in March. Great guard play gets you far in the NCAA tournament, and like you've been saying from the very start, Matt, they got those guards. But a team like Tennessee, a team like Kentucky that have legitimate good big men that can score and dominate on the glass, Arkansas needs the Mitchell twins. You can't something's been up with Makai. Has not been the same player in the last month that he was the month before that.
I'm with you, Phil. I wasn't even thinking about it like that. I was almost thinking about it that it's an advantage for Arkansas when we got them out there. And I know we got the guards like you're saying. Man, I've been coming to rely on those guys, man, that they were going to get double-doubles for you and kind of control that painted area. Man, they've been doing so good at that. And it just seemed, for whatever reason, that not really had they didn't get the minutes and have their best game. But they'll bounce back, man. I think they'll bounce back. They've been too good this year. They had that 6-7 game stretch where they just been dominating. So I hope they'll bounce back.
And we're in the position where there's a baseball game on Saturday at 3 and a basketball game at 1. And, that's one of those days you can actually pull off both of them. Arkansas and Kentucky, 1 o'clock Saturday at Bud Walton Arena, and then a baseball game against Wright State at 3 o'clock. You could pull both of those off.
Just walk on down, huh? Yeah. Should be a beautiful day.
Hey, that's what I did yesterday with women's basketball. I called the women's game, and once post-game was done, I packed my equipment up. I drove right down Razorback Road, parked in the Cardinal parking lot, walked into Baum-Walker Stadium, and poked Bubba in the ribs for about 5 minutes while he was on the air.
How funny.
With Nick.
How cool. Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun. I actually love just standing there watching the game. And you don't have to be on the air. But it was the game changed at the moment when I met the family that led Take Me Out to the ball game. I sat out on that little table right next to the press box where I ate a barbecue sandwich and noticed it's the top of the 7th inning. Arkansas is leading, and there's 2 outs. The family then comes behind me. We start talking about the baseball team. Got the little girl who's right there, and she looked nervous to lean up against my table. And I was like, come on, there's plenty of room here for both of us. Let's talk baseball. We start talking. The next thing you know, slam, bam, home run. Arkansas trailed, and I had to look at the family cross-eyed. It was either their fault or my fault for talking to him. I don't know. We'll take a quick break in a moment here. Twin Peaks has a March Madness bracket challenge that you can sign up for at TwinPeaksBracketChallenge.com. You can open up through March the 12th. Get ready for the madness. Sign up for the Twin Peaks Bracket Challenge, and you get free chips and queso when you sign up. Again, just go to TwinPeaksBracketChallenge.com to register, and you can learn more there. Once the tournament gets started, Twin Peaks and Rogers is a great place to watch all of NCAA basketball. It's your sports headquarters. 29-degree draft beer always flows. The kitchen bursts with made-from-scratch fan favorites, and they'll have basketball on the television from every single angle. I say television, they got like dozens of TVs. They have the ultimate game day experience at Twin Peaks and Rogers, or go online to TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. You can order delivery or to go on the website. More TVs, bigger screens, scenic views, and more to watch at Twin Peaks. We talk with Conor O'Gara from Saturday Down South after this on Halftime.
Has come in, she is shaking her umbrella, and I look the other way as they are kissing their hellos, and I'm pretending not to see them, and instead I pour the milk.
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
One call cleans it all.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland.
Basketball and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Conor O'Gara joining us for a Monday hit here from Saturday Down South. Conor, how was your weekend? What are you up to these days?
Weekend was good. I did watch more XFL. I actually had a buddy who was in town visiting from Chicago, which I always say, if you're going to come to Orlando, come in February when it's, like 85 and sunny. But, yeah, come to Orlando that time and, do so when I'm not in the middle of college football season.
Are you telling me February is palatable for those in the Sunshine State? Because I hate February. And we've actually had callers here today agree. And, we're in the South, but it's Arkansas, and part of our southern state is up in the hills. So February can be a pretty miserable month. Are you telling me that Florida is where we need to be for February? Otherwise, I would just go January to March.
No, I think February is the best time because, look, I don't want to paint too broad of a picture here, but let's just say I looked at the weather on Friday, saw that place where I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, it was like a low of 9 degrees, and meanwhile down here in Orlando, it was 85 when I was at the beach, and it was sunny. So I'm just saying, if you can get to that, I think life is too short to not put yourself in situations in which that can be a reality. That's just me personally. I understand those that like the cold and that need that little chill in February. Personally, that's not my thing.
And a guy who's from the North that's talking about that. But, hey, it happens when you move into the South. Did you, without even asking if you watched Arkansas-Alabama on Saturday, we're not supposed to have rooting interests if you're just like a media member that views things from from an unbiased perspective. But I think even the most unbiased of journalists have to look at what's happened at Alabama and say, you know what, I think this athletic department, I think this basketball team right now needs to have that ego clipped a little bit. I felt like Arkansas was the most popular basketball team in the country this weekend. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold on to that second half lead. But Alabama's the big villain now. I mean, and there's no two ways about it. It's an easy team to dislike. And the truthful, honest answer about this was like 2 weeks ago, I don't know a lot of people that felt that way.
Yeah, things have changed in a hurry. And it's not just the fact that their best player, Brandon Miller, is somebody that is now named in a murder investigation, an ongoing investigation for providing the gun that was used as the murder weapon. But I think so many people saw the comments from Nate Oates last week and just said, what in the world are we doing here? What is going on? If a public employee at a high-profile program, and that's what Alabama has become, a high-profile program, has enabled this and has come out and had such a lack of sensitivity to a very sensitive situation. What are we doing here? And that is, in my opinion, about as unlikable as it gets. I think that Nate Oates put his foot in his mouth repeatedly. And no, it doesn't matter necessarily that you came out with a statement after clearly Greg Burns said, what in the world are you doing? College kids are out? Like, wrong place at the wrong time? Like, wrong thing at the wrong time. Like, that is just the worst possible way to handle that situation. And, yeah, a lot of people are rooting against Alabama, and understandably so. You see them do the pat-down thing in the pregame, which they've been doing that all year. Come on, man. Like, Alabama just lacks so much awareness right now for this situation, a situation in which a young mother lost her life, and it now is going to turn into Alabama against the world. And it should really be focusing on, two separate things, in my opinion. But Alabama has certainly not earned any points in the court of public opinion.
Is there something with the athletic department here? Because it's a much different, to a much different degree. I forget the name of the wide receiver who, in the Tennessee loss when they all rushed the field, kind of shoved a young lady.
He slapped. He's kind of smacked at her. Yeah, he slapped at her.
Yeah, but there was also no repercussions for him at all. And I think he might have been Alabama's leading receiver up to that point. The thought is, if it's a walk-on, he's probably, disciplined or kicked off the team or something. With Brandon Miller, I mean, this is potentially the best player in the country for college basketball. And we can see the values that Alabama has as far as trying to discipline some of these players who are really not trying to discipline them. We all think that our own athletic departments, that we root for, would react differently. I'd like to think Arkansas would react differently. You had a football player in Jalen Catalon who was suspended because he was arrested for something that, truthfully, he probably shouldn't have been arrested for. But I just wonder, what is it going on with Alabama here? And nobody wants to take any. Nobody wants to have any accountability for things. And again, these are to two totally different degrees, but you can still draw a line from one to the other in some ways.
It's a dangerous place to be in terms of abuse of power, and that Jermaine Burton situation, wherein he wasn't suspended at all, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was ridiculous at the time. It's still ridiculous looking back on it. Nick Saban messed up. In this situation, Nate Oates has messed up. I think anybody that's continued to defend the actions and just say, oh, well, he wasn't charged with a crime. It's like, well, there's always more to it than just that. And if you are lacking that kind of understanding, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you're defending these things, because actions are still significant, and they impact this world that we live in. In this world that we live in, college coaches have so much power. Like, these are 2 of the 10 highest paid coaches in their respective sports. Obviously, Nick Saban is higher in that food chain, but Nate Oates just got a massive extension. And now, how do you discipline these coaches who are in positions in which they have so much power and they're defaulting to, I can't control what guys do outside of practice? Like, okay, but you can sure as heck punish the things that they do for those decisions made outside of practice. If you can suspend or punish a kid for showing up late to practice, but you're just going to turn a blind eye to your best player being involved in a situation like this, like, what are we doing? That is just abuse of power 101. And right now it looks like Alabama has been subjected to a little bit too much of that because of its own doing.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around, because every team I was on, coaches, had team rules, and they were, you had consequences for your actions, but the team rules were the rules you didn't want to break.
Yeah, and you have Nate Oates coming out here saying he's not in any trouble of any kind. I mean, he didn't even say we handled this internally. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, Matt, think of all the times in which you did so much as talk back to a coach or something like that at any point in your career and you had to run for it or something like that. We didn't hear anything like that from Nate Oates.
No, I had some good coaches. I was around a lot of good ones. I do want to ask you a football question. If did you see Bryce Young's not going to throw at the combine? What are your value as far as Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young? What's your order 1 through 4 on those guys?
Yeah, I'd go Bryce Young 1. I love me some Bryce Young. If anybody's sitting here like, oh, I need him to be 5'11", or I need him to be 6 feet, and I need him to weigh 205 pounds, like, you're a loser. Watch him on film before making some sort of weird determination based on his measurements, in which he's probably not even going to play at his heaviest weight right now anyway. So that's just a dumb thing to go by. Bryce Young would be my number 1 guy. I think he's all the Steph Curry comps, the Pat Mahomes comps. I think a lot of those are legit. I think he's special. I would have Stroud at number 2, and I wasn't really in on Stroud, and then I was there at that Peach Bowl, and I was just blown away. And I thought, man, once that guy flips that switch, it is so special to watch what he did against that Georgia defense, put him in that group. And then, to be honest, like, I go way, way, way beyond that, like late first round, early second round. I would have a lot more comfortability taking Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. That's not where they're going to be projected to go. But I put Levis as a nod ahead of Richardson just because Levis at least had 2 years as a starter. Like, Richardson had 1 year as a starter and was so wildly disappointing despite the fact that he had his moments, and I get it. If you're going to be competing at a high level, especially in the AFC, you've got to roll the dice. You've got to take a chance because look at all these teams with elite quarterbacks in the AFC. But to me, I just look at those 2 guys, Stroud and Bryce Young, and I think they are so much further along already in their careers than those other 2, Levis and Richardson.
What do you make of what's coming out of the Pac-12? They are apparently going to be streaming their games. Like, there's no way you're going to end up as the Pac-12 becoming like a group of 5 league now. I mean, there's going to be so much. There's such a differential in the amount of money that those schools will make from their, and I can't call it a television contract. And on the other side of the country too, you've got Florida State University complaining to the ACC that they've got to figure out this revenue gap between them and the SEC and the Big Ten, to the point where the folks from Florida State, I read that they're trying to, maybe the idea, well, we deserve more of the pie from the ACC because we get more eyes on our games than Syracuse does, than Pitt does, than Boston College does. The more I read about the issues with Florida State right now and how they view the ACC, and from what I'm hearing about, the Pac-12, like looking at SMU or San Diego State and everything, it's becoming difficult to take those 2 leagues seriously.
If you are a fan of the SEC or the Big Ten, just count your lucky stars. That's the way that all of this has played out, and this has been playing out for the last really 10 to 15 years. I mean, this goes back way beyond just one commissioner, but it's funny because in a lot of ways, the ACC is exactly what a lot of fans want. This grant of rights deal that locks them into their media contracts through 2036 is supposed to give the conference an identity and stability and equal revenue distribution. This is what fans want. And Florida State is sitting here like, oh my gosh, like, we're going to get passed over so significantly by the Big Ten and the SEC facilities, the way that you can spend on recruiting NIL now. It's just, they're going to take off, and we're going to be left wondering, we're locked into this contract for more than a decade. And that is a really difficult place to be when you're trying to compete for national championships. And that's the standard that Florida State, Clemson, these programs hold themselves to. And they're in a really difficult spot because they do bring in more revenue. And yeah, there is something to be said for that. But you're not pro sports yet. And that's the thing that's kind of separating you from these other leagues and what they're trying to do is that it isn't based on audience viewers or anything like that. And so they're in a really, really tough spot. I think there are a lot of those in the ACC who are feeling very angsty right now about the future of their conference.
Yeah, I find it weird that Bryce Young doesn't want to throw at the combine. You kind of want your quarterback to want to compete there, but everybody has their own thing. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't know that Bryce Young is going to be this star that everybody thinks he's going to be, but you never know.
Yeah, look, I think this situation, if you were a guy in that spot of knowing that you're expected to be the number 1 overall pick, there are not a whole lot of people who are putting anybody above Bryce Young as QB1. Now, I saw there was somebody from CBS Sports who had Anthony Richardson as QB1. That's still making headlines when you do something like that. So if you're Bryce Young and you're understanding, like, look, side by side, yeah, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, these guys might have bigger arms than him. They might look bigger and look more the part. Why would you put yourself in that situation to even put any sort of doubt into your draft stock? And he's still going to be able to throw at the pro day. This guy was a 2-year starter. I mean, there's so much film with him, especially against really good competition, that it can only hurt him at this point to go into a situation like that. I don't think Bryce Young can step onto the field side by side, not wearing pads in what's, the underwear Olympics, and help himself against the likes of Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, many of which in the draft world are just salivating to be able to see in these settings, despite the fact that there's a lot of evidence suggesting that in the important setting, it's been more of an uphill climb. There's much more separation between them and Bryce Young.
Evaluating quarterbacks coming out of college has just got to be an incredibly difficult thing to do, because you want to try sometimes to go by the production you saw in college, and at the same time, you're like, well, if you played for Alabama, then you had all of the tools at your behest. He got chased around a little bit, though, so I'm not sure if I view, Bryce Young in that way. But with Will Levis and with Anthony Richardson, you're strictly going on tools and tools alone, because their numbers really, like touchdowns to interceptions, completion percentages, all of that, it really wasn't all that impressive. And so they can get out and run, understandable, yes, but I just think quarterbacks are incredibly difficult to know what to expect coming out of college.
Yeah, I think there's more paths than ever to becoming an NFL starter because of the ways in which there's more cohesion with college and NFL offenses than there were 10, 20 years ago. But at the same time, and this is something that one of my colleagues, Michael Calabrese, brought up, how many times have we seen somebody at the Power 5 level be kind of meh, just kind of mediocre, become a first-round pick, and then become even a good NFL quarterback? Those situations, it's like Ryan Tannehill, and that's it. Maybe Daniel Jones, but other than that, man, it's like really, really slim pickings. You can kind of go back, and I went back and I found all the guys who were not all conference players who were drafted as first-round quarterbacks and like what their NFL careers ultimately turned out to be. And, man, it's really, really difficult. Like, there are no examples of success stories. There just aren't, maybe with the exception of Tannehill, but yeah, even he had to go to a new team to be able to kind of have his success when he left the Dolphins and went to the Titans. So, it is just such a difficult path to predict for those two, and I'm surprised there's not more resistance for them.
Conor, we'll leave it there. I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the last 2 days of your favorite month, okay? And we'll talk to you in March.
Love it. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Conor.
Conor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. Get the Bet Saracen app on your phone. Arkansas basketball tomorrow means they're going to have Arkansas specials on the app tomorrow. It's a really entertaining way to enjoy your favorite basketball team. Bet Saracen on your Apple iPhone or on the Google Play Android store. NFL, college football, NBA basketball, NCAA basketball, women's basketball, baseball, XFL, auto racing, golf. If they can put money on it, you can do it on the Bet Saracen app. It's got the most accurate and up-to-date sports wagering info anywhere in the state of Arkansas. You can also go to any web browser and type in betsaracen.com. Open segment, 877-377-6963 for halftime.
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got trophies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561. Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got trophies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's
First car dealer on your right, or log on at edwardsautosalesinc.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Whiskey bottles and brand new cars. Oak tree, you're in my way. There's too much coke and too much smoke. Look what's going on inside you. Ooh, that smell. Can't you smell that smell? Ooh, that smell. The smell of death around you.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
A really cool giveaway Saturday at the baseball game. I mean, a stack of Razorback baseball cards. And they'll have the information on the back like the classic baseball cards have, but the photos are where it's at. And they've got all kinds of different styles of baseball cards from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. It's really cool. And I got to teach Bubba Carpenter something from his photo on the baseball card here. This is a scary looking card. I showed this to you earlier, Matt Jones. This one right here.
Looks like a
put it up on that
stud right
video
there.
screen.
Yeah.
He's got
Serious
some evil
expression on him.
He's got some evil designs on that baseball or the pitcher. I mean, this is what a hungry baseball player looks like when he's on deck.
He looks like that's 97 coming after you. What do you throw it?
What Bubba? Well, I mean, heck, he looks like he's ready for a dragon.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to bring some heat right there.
The one that Bubba was on top of was the Dave Van Horn card. Check out the fresh-faced Dave Van Horn baseball card. I think this is when he played, 1982.
Oh, nice.
Must have been. This is a...
Oh, yeah, the colors on it looks like it's from 1985.
Big smile and everything from Dave Van Horn. Dave smiling, Bubba's like, I don't even know what I would call it. I did teach him a term, because what this looks like here, it is a prime example of the Kubrick stare. Now, you know Stanley Kubrick, the legendary movie director, 2001, Dr. Strangelove, Eyes Wide Shut,
Full Metal
Jacket. That's right.
The
Shining. That's exactly right. There is
Clockwork
one of his
Orange.
directorial techniques was to get the villain. Well, I mean, the villain is like a different way to put it. The psychotic killer to kind of point your head downward a little bit, and then you look upwards towards your target.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of looking down but up, determined at that person. I mean, that's exactly the same thing that Malcolm McDowell did in A Clockwork Orange. That's what Private Pyle did in Full Metal Jacket. And Jack Torrance, the Nicholson character in The Shining, really famous photos of that stare that is called the Kubrick stare. And it's easy. Again, tilt your head down, look up beneath your eyelids, boom, you're automatically looking incredibly creepy. That's what Bubba looks like here.
I feel like he should be saying, "We are in a world of bleep."
Yes. I mean, and I wondered, it's like, I mean, you know you're going to have a baseball card. Maybe he didn't realize this was going to be his baseball card shot. But you should know. You should be told by your photographer that the photo we're about to take is going to be the one that goes in the baseball yearbook or goes in the media guide or becomes the baseball card. And then you smile. You look
It's not
friendly.
your mugshot.
Well, that's what this is. It's a frightening-looking mugshot. I don't like sitting in a room with a guy that looks at me like this.
Oh, this guy's guilty. You can just tell by the photo this guy's
That's
guilty.
exactly right. That's exactly right. If you're in a room, Matt, with a guy that looks at you like this, what are you going to think?
I'm on his side.
Maybe it's good that we don't do the show in the same room all the time. Told you guys I was going to be in studio tomorrow. I lied.
Oh.
No, but these were cool baseball cards. I mean, you go all the way down. You get the where is it here? You've got the Johnny. Look at the Johnny Ray afro. Johnny Ray was one of my favorite Pirates. Played for Arkansas in the late 70s. And this is a great photo of Johnny Ray playing second base, and he's got the afro protruding through his hat. Yeah, we see him at Arkansas baseball games every once in a while. You know, even Hugo Bezdek has a baseball card in here. This is the guy who named the team the Razorbacks. He's got a baseball card because he was the football coach and the baseball coach all at the same time. Sterling's giving us a call. Let's take Sterling's phone call before the break. Hi, Sterling. How are you?
Hey, Phil and Matt, guys. I know we're gonna disagree with me, Phil, because I know you like things speed up in baseball, and I don't have necessarily a problem with the clock. I mean, I do want that. I do want them to go and get in the box and let's play baseball. But at the same time, I mean, my problem is the reason why they did it. I think you ought to do it because, you know, it don't make no sense to be standing out of the box. Just come, you know, get in there. And adjusting, doing all the adjustments and all that stuff. I mean, that don't make any sense to me. But I don't necessarily care about it, like, getting me out of the game 20 minutes earlier.
Batters do that because they've been allowed to. Because they've been allowed to do it. And therefore, they think their routines mean something to people that are watching at that point. I don't know. I saw a video earlier this morning, and I can't remember the name of the pitcher, but it was they put on loop a guy hitting an inside the park home run, and saw how many times could he sprint around the bases before this pitcher threw a pitch in the next game. He circled the bases 4 times. That should never happen. That should never happen. And I love what they've done. I love this because they're going to get used to it, Sterling. They're going to get used to it. What we will end up seeing is a lot less of spitting, stretching, playing with the batting gloves, and it's going to move the game.
More of a cardio sport for these pitchers. I know it is in a way, but, man, yeah, they got to get it and go.
Yeah, I agree with that part of it, but I'm not necessarily – what I'm saying is that don't make any sense to me. I mean, that's why I want to sped up, but I don't want to sped up just because we want the game to be over in 2 hours and 40 minutes. I mean, you like baseball or you don't.
Well, that ends up being a product. The time of the game ends up being a product of a game moving along quicker, which is, I mean, truthfully, it becomes more compelling to watch a game that has pace rather than just standing around or conversations on a pitcher's mound, or fake pickoff moves that aren't necessary anymore. I think they might have gone a step too far, limiting pitchers to 2 pickoffs in each at-bat. I think that might be a step too far.
That's the part I'm getting to. Yeah, that's the part. That's the part that I want to take out. I mean, somebody on base. I mean, you're only going to have 2 pickoff throws. I mean, Ricky, people always like to say if Jordan played today or Wilt played today or whatever. Well, for sure, if Ricky Henderson played today, you're only going to get thrown there 2 times. He's going to have 200 stolen bases. I don't think I'm exaggerating, Phil. He had 130 in 132 games, I believe.
He did. He did that back when the game actually moved along a little bit.
Right. So, I guess we agree. We agree totally on that deal. And my only question to you is, and Matt, and anybody else that want to answer, how much guaranteed money will you be willing to give Lamar Jackson? And y'all have a great day.
I think Lamar Jackson is a pretty good quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. I like some Lamar Jackson. Who do you put him up there with? Whatever a Justin Herbert's getting, whatever. I mean, I don't know that. I don't know what these guys are getting, but he's a tier 1 quarterback. Whatever a tier 1 quarterback gets is what you give Lamar Jackson.
Got an MVP award. I don't think MVP awards are fluky.
Cam, they're not fluky. You're right. I mean, Cam was good.
Cam Newton was great that year.
Cam was good.
I mean, the shoulder
and he was so
kind of
talented. He was so talented. Yeah.
But I mean, for a guy that does have to get out and run, in order to be as effective as Lamar can be, you end up in a position where you could be injured more often than a guy who's in the pocket a little bit longer. But that's also the game that you're playing now. That's the direction the game
is. He
went.
Out? If he's out, if I'm Jerry Jones, that's who I'm going to get. You can win a Super Bowl with that defense and Lamar Jackson. I mean, that would be him or Aaron Rodgers win a Super Bowl. This is the time with that defense. You got it. You better go get somebody.
Look, I'm a Steelers fan. I like Kenny Pickett. I would take Lamar Jackson over Kenny Pickett 10 days a
week. Yeah, right.
Yeah, just like the Beatles said 8 days a week, I'm adding 2 to that week. All right, we're going to wrap halftime up right after this quick break.
Right yet. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Make today more interesting with Betly's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college games with Betly, the only online sports book in Arkansas and Tennessee. And right now, every new customer can cash in on a $250 risk-free first bet. Download the Betly Sportsbook app now in the Apple and Google Play Store or visit Betly.com. With Betly, every game matters.
Must be 21 or older and located in Arkansas or Tennessee to bet. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Drs. Sparkman, Nanda, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
It's a new year. Why not put a new-to-you vehicle in your driveway?
Road Chevrolet wants to buy your vehicle today, and that means you can get out of your old ride and into a great car, truck, or SUV from Road Chevrolet. In fact, trucks starting at only $14,482. Yeah, trucks starting at $14,482. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Gray Steel Structures Incorporated is a family-owned business based in Greenwood specializing in steel structures. Owner Will Gray has 20 years experience doing the job right and making sure you're satisfied with the structure you have a need for. Gray Steel Structures serves both commercial and residential customers. Whatever your need may be, mini storage, RV storage, home workshop, or any metal building need, make Gray Steel Structures your first call. Gray Steel Structures, 252-2783. That's 252-2783.
GraySteelStructuresInc.com. That's Gray with an A.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work. Real work. Working for you. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call Phil Hicks in Greenwood or Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith.
With over 8,000 square feet of all the latest trends in lighting and plumbing fixtures, Great House Fixtures has all the brands you know and love, such as Visual Comfort Lighting and Delta Faucets. Their experienced staff can help you design and select the perfect fixtures for your uniquely you home, including sinks, tubs, faucets, custom showers, indoor and outdoor lighting, chandeliers, mirrors, hardware, and more. Make your house a great house. Learn more at greathousefixtures.com, located on 0th Street in Fort Smith. Great House Fixtures by J&B Supply.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey! I saw the light on the night that I passed by her window. I saw the flickering shadows of love on her blind. She was my woman. As she deceived me, I watched and went out of my mind. See, that girl was no good for me, but I was lost like a slave that no man could free.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Okay, wrapping things up here on halftime. I'm pretty sure we got our last. Is there another Eric Musselman live show? I was wondering about that. I think last week was the last one. That's right. Yeah, because you got a road game tomorrow, so they're traveling today to Knoxville for tomorrow's 8 o'clock tip-off. Be with you guys tomorrow. Looking forward to sitting in the same room with you guys. Matt, even if you send me a Kubrick stare, I will be in. I'm not going to jump off and say, can't do this, since you look at me a little bit weird. But you look at me weird sometimes too. It's okay.
I look at everybody weird. It's going to be a fun show tomorrow. It'll be good.
Yeah, well, we'll have a basketball game to preview. Arkansas, Tennessee. We'll have baseball to preview for Wednesday against Illinois State. We'll be one more day closer to March. Thank goodness this isn't a leap year. I mean, if to be forced to have another extra day of February would really not be very happy.
When was the last leap year? COVID year? Oh, it was last year?
I don't remember the last time we did this thing known as leap year. Let me check for you quickly here. No, it wasn't last year, so it must have been.
According to Google, it was 2020.
2020? We need to do away with leap
year.
So
every 4 years?
2020 was the last one.
Well, we got one again next year, too.
Oh, come on. I'm going to ask to be off on February 29th next year. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I understand, like, we have 365 days in the year. We'd add this one in order for it to all equal out. The whole month thing is a weird thing anyway. 30 days in some months, 31 days in another month, and then this other one over here is like just 28. And it's the one that's the most miserable month. Cold, wet, snowy, and even if you get a couple of nice days, you end up with a crappy day the day after that. Well, today has been a good year, though. Election year. Thank you very much, B.E. That's when we do it. Election years. Presidential election years. Because we need one more day of campaigning, don't we? All right, tomorrow, halftime. It's a Tuesday, so Chuck Barrett joins us and Clay Henry as well. And, of course, Ruskin and Zach are standing by to take you up until 7 o'clock. We're with you tomorrow. Matt Jones, Matt Travis, have a great rest of your day. To our listeners, you too. I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.